The GM, Scott McCloughan, and the head coach, Jay Gruden, got their first look at the 2016 Redskins in Atlanta. It was a quick peek at their franchise quarterback, but Captain Kirk was confident and in concert with multiple receivers. The defense had their ups in stopping the run and their downs in covering the pass downfield. Newcomers made some big impressions in all three phases of the game. Now the home fans get their first glimpse at seeing what's on the horizon against the Jets in preseason game number 2. The iconic reflecting pool here in the nation's capital, politics taking a back seat on game night. Matt Jones looks to make some noise after a quiet first preseason game in the ATL. And welcome to Washington, Mr. Josh Norman. Happy to have you here. Redskins looking for some answers with questions at certain positions tonight. It's the Washington Redskins hosting the New York Jets from FedEx Field right here on the Redskins Broadcast Network. Greetings all, Chick Hernandez along with Redskins legend Joe Theismann. Joe, last week the running game, very quiet. I would imagine it's a point of emphasis tonight.
I would think so, Chick. Actually, it was non-existent, to be honest with you. The running back situation is interesting. It's hard to get in a flow when you only carry the ball 3 or 4 times. That was the problem for Matt Jones. But there also was problems up front. Every time he tried to make a big play, it seemed like they didn't get to the second level. I mean, you look at the different running back combinations. Now you get a good run, then you get a penalty. It seemed like it was 1 step forward, 2 steps back all night when it came to the running back situation. Kelly looked pretty good. Brown looked pretty good. Everybody looked pretty good, but they weren't as explosive as they're going to need to be. You see the running back situation. You know, Matt Jones, obviously Chris Thompson are the guys. There's an opportunity to make this football team at the running back position. Now, Keith Marshall was a 7th round draft choice, but yet he's going to have to show a little more explosion tonight.
Those are the guys that are here. On the D-line, a lot of guys no longer here, so some changes in that unit.
I think that's the biggest area of change on this football team has been the defensive line, as you mentioned. You know, Hatcher's gone, Kearse's gone, Knighton, all of them up in Patriot land. And then, of course, unfortunately, Junior Gillette winds up tearing his other Achilles. And the D-line is going to have to get some penetration. They don't have that big guy in the middle. Terrence Knighton was the anchor. They really don't have an anchor. They have a combination of a lot of different guys that can play up front. Of course, Trent Williams was going to be a defensive lineman. Now he's moved back to linebacker because of Junior Gillette a little bit. So a lot of change going on. A lot of versatility, but not a lot of size.
If you're looking for the personality of this team, the linebacking core may provide that.
They always do. The personality of a football team is the linebacking core because they're the heart and soul of special teams. They're the guys that flash and make plays. And you can see there's a plethora of them. Perry Riley Jr. back from injury. Preston Smith doing a heck of a job at the defensive end position. Of course, you look at Trent Murphy. I mentioned it, moving back. Garvin, Spate. A lot of guys vying for an opportunity on this football team. Will Compton may not play tonight, but he's still in the mix, absolutely. And Spate back. Martell Spate coming back off injury with the concussion a year ago. Has looked very good in training camp. So it's the one place where there's a lot of competition.
Washington Redskins preseason football is brought to you in part by FedEx. Ship FedEx ground at FedEx office. Bud Light, who reminds fans to make the right call and drink responsibly. And by Inova, official health system of the Washington Redskins. From FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland, as we get ready for preseason game number 2, Joe Theismann, Chick Hernandez, and our Geico What to Watch for. The third member of our broadcast team is Clinton Portis. Clinton, what are you looking for?
Chick, Joe, listen, I hope you guys are as excited as I am. Sean McVay has a toy box at the tight end position. Jordan Reed, Davis. You got so many guys exposable at this moment. He's going to have a great time. You can go 2 tights. You can go 2 tights on the fullback. Niles Paul is back. Logan Paulson is back. This man has so many weapons at the tight end position that's going to provide a lot of mismatches. I'm eager to see how he uses it.
Absolutely, CP, as we see Colt McCoy right behind you. It looks like, Joe, it'll be Colt McCoy who will get the start tonight. So some changes late by Jay Gruden. You see Kirk Cousins there, a healthy scratch, quarterback of the offense.
It's his birthday, Chick. It's a day off.
Is that what it is?
I mean, that's what I think it is.
Really?
Yep. Ryan Kerrigan is another one who's not going to play tonight.
Will Compton, the quarterback of the defense as well. And the guy we welcome to D.C., Josh Norman, will not play as well. So making some moves.
And a note, these are all coaches' healthy scratches, and that's the important thing to understand. Jay has decided, I think that the quarterback decision with Kirk Cousins is in part has to do with the fact that Jordan Reed and Trent Williams may not play. Trent Williams won't for sure. So that's something you have to be aware of, is who's up front to protect your quarterback.
Yep, you got to protect your quarterback. This is Jay Gruden on what needs to improve in 2016.
We made a major improvement from the year before in turnovers and in red zone. We were a lot better, and on third down, which is very exciting to see. We just have to continue to get better and better in those areas. Those are such key areas of the game. You know, red zone turnovers, third down, that's where you win and lose games every time. Our 2-minute success was a lot better. So we're continuing to improve key areas of the game. Now it's a matter of putting game after game and being more consistent.
That's Jay Gruden on the improvements. Tonight's keys to the game are brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup. Shop ChooseNissan.com.
One of the things, Chick, is how well the offensive line will get to the second level. That means after the linebacker or after the D line, what do you get to the next level on with the linebackers? And one other area I didn't mention, obviously, is penalties. They've got to do. I mean, that has to be a footnote to what we were talking about here.
Redskins won the toss, and they have chosen to receive. Rashad Ross and Chris Thompson are back. Nick Folk will handle the kicking duties for the New York Jets. Jets come off a 10-win season last year, but they also play in the same division as the New England Patriots. All the Redskins coming off an NFC East division title.
But the Jets have given the Patriots fits. And Todd Bowles, their second-year head coach, is a defensive mastermind.
Some folks around here, certainly in D.C., would know Todd Bowles, former DB back in 86 to 90 and 92, 93. There's the kick. Thompson will touch back. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line, and welcome in Colt McCoy as your starting quarterback of the Washington Redskins.
This is really good for Colt because he's so used to coming off the bench. Now it's an opportunity to start the ball game, get into a rhythm. He'll play more than what would have amounted to possibly the second quarter. So he's going to have a chance to play a lot more football, get into a lot better rhythm.
Matt Jones will be in the backfield for the Washington Redskins, and Vernon Davis will start at tight end for one. Jordan Reed is nursing the thumb. It's okay. Another precautionary move by Jay Gruden. First and 10 now from the 25-yard line. McCoy will work out of the shotgun. Right out of the gate, trips left. Shot to Deshaun Jackson up to the 32-yard line. The catch made. Gain of 7. Marcus Williams on the tackle. Tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Bud Light, who reminds fans to make the right call and drink responsibly. Did you take a look at the starting lineups there? Vernon Davis, as I said, starting for Jordan Reed. Ryan Grant on that catch.
You see how quick Colt got the ball out of his hands. With this defensive line and these linebackers, you have to get the ball out of your hands quickly.
Charles Paul in motion now. That is big. Jones. A run for first down to the 38-yard line. Take a look at the starting lineups for the defense now. A gain of 7 for Matt Jones.
Leonard Williams, another big one. They expect a big year out of him. Sheldon Richardson, also another guy they expect a big year out of. Lots of change in the secondary, or in the linebacker position. David Harris is the only one back. And in the secondary, Darrelle Revis, one of the 3 best corners in football. I think Josh Norman and Richard Sherman are the other 2.
So 1st and 10 from the 38. A little bootleg left for McCoy. The shot to Ryan Grant. Not called down. Gets back up. Little yards after catch for Ryan Grant. You saw the pressure there on Colt McCoy, who got it off.
Pressure coming from the left side. Good job of getting the ball off. Little jump pass. Realizes that he wasn't on the ground. Rolled over on Serkins. And there you go. Bounce off him. Nothing gets on the ground but your feet. Get up and run. Good awareness.
Buster Screen.
Screen.
Yes, sir. Jones in the backfield now. 2nd and 1 for the Redskins. Under center is McCoy. The give to Jones right side, and he's got some room. Can't quite get away from Darrelle Revis, but he does get the first down on a gain of 2.
Matt Jones showing a little bit of the speed that we saw a year ago. Get through the line. Now try and go outside. You're just not going to circle a defense. Not as quick and fast as the Jets are.
1st and 10 from midfield now as the Redskins look to get into Jet territory. Maurice Harris far left. McCoy under center. A fumble. But Jones gets it right back. He had that issue last year, Joe, but it looks like a little transition there, probably.
Well, anytime you see an exchange between a quarterback and a running back, I always put the onus on the quarterback. You have to make sure that the ball is into the stomach. And again, Colt McCoy hasn't worked an awful lot with Matt Jones because he works with Kirk Cousins. But you see the ball go out, it goes sliding right through. And fortunately, the Redskins have it. But once again, we saw it last week. You get a big gain, you get a penalty. Now, all of a sudden, you're 2nd down and 15. Much more difficult to convert. Gives the defense an opportunity to give you a lot of different looks.
2nd and 15 from the 44-yard line. Out of the gun, the give to Chris Thompson, who gets met with a force. Aaron Henderson, the former Maryland star, on the tackle.
That's what's known as tackling downhill. Chris Thompson went nowhere. Right stopped at the line of scrimmage.
Let me go back to that fumble. Now, if you did that in a game, did you go back to that running back and say, my bad?
Oh, no, you don't say anything right now. When you get to the sidelines, you basically get on with the next play. There's too much information that you have to partake to everyone.
3rd and 15, McCoy out of the gun. Thompson in the backfield. McCoy looking right side. Got a man. That's Jamison Crowder. He's knocked out of bounds at the 31-yard line. Marcus Gilchrist on the tackle. 24 on the game.
Whenever you're going to throw a deeper route, 15, 18 yards, you need protection. You look at the job the offensive line did up front. Nice throw, steps up into it. Perfect opportunity to be able to convert.
Good to see Jamison Crowder, who missed the first game with a hammy issue. 59 catches last year for this Redskins team. Niles Paul now the fullback. As McCoy works under center. Pitch right to Thompson. They'll get a few. Tackled by Lawrence Thomas. You see Niles Paul there, your fullback.
The Jets defense is just very difficult to be able to circle. They have pursuit inside. They're big linebackers. Safeties come hard. I mean, that's, you look at the way they go sideline to sideline. Ranked 4th last year defensively, 2nd against the rush. Todd Bowles in his first year really starting to understand what he has on that side of the ball, the defensive side of the ball.
2nd and 10 now. Rashad Ross on the far side. Jamison Crowder in the slot. Straight drop for McCoy. Once again, there's that man, Ryan Grant. He's very active early on. The tackle by Aaron Henderson.
What a difference this offensive line is showing in this game versus Atlanta a week ago. Look at the time that Colt McCoy has. He gets a chance to look to the left, to the right, slide a little bit to the right, and then come back and make the throw. Ryan Grant off to a fast start. 3 good catches, good yards, good plays.
A lot of that's a product, though, Joe, of in practice, twos working together a lot.
And that one offensive line doesn't hurt.
Draw to Jones up the middle. We'll try to churn for a couple. It's inside the 17-yard line.
When I had the opportunity to talk to Sean McVay this week, I said, what would be the perfect scenario for this football game? He said, what we want to do, he said, on the first drive, we want to have positive plays. We want to get points out of it. That's the whole, it's all about points. Let's get points out of the first drive. Now they're in position to have an opportunity to do that with at least a possible field goal attempt if they don't get in the end zone.
11th play of this drive for Colt McCoy. Works out of the shotgun on a 2nd and 8. From inside their 20. Pressure. McCoy out of the pocket. Going to put it, tuck it down, gets knocked out of bounds by David Harris. Decision by quarterback Colt McCoy.
Colt can run. I mean, he's got some mobility. They bring the pressure off the edge. You see Harris bail on Thompson. Colt recognizes it, does a little thing, now heads for the sidelines, which is exactly what he should do.
Third down now from the 13-yard line. Redskins looking to put points on the board early. Take a look at last year.
I like the tight end down in this situation.
Out of the gun, McCoy. Looks right side. Jamison Crowder on the catch. Gets inside the 10 down to the 8. Buster screen on the tackle. Colt McCoy is 5 for 5, Joe, early on.
And he's had a lot of time to throw the football. He's made very good decisions with the football. A lot of clean looks. This is a clean look. You see the dig coming in, or the shallow coming in, and all of a sudden you get it out in front of him. Once again, though, he takes a shot.
Push.
You know, I think if he falls to the ground, they'll throw a 15-yard penalty. It happened last week, but he's not going down that easy.
First and goal from the 8, Rashad Ross, split left. McCoy looks that way. Ross on the quick slant. Trying to get some extra yards. Ends up going backwards. That's a moment there where he could have just gone ahead. Buster screen on the tackle.
All that is you do that in practice because nobody can tackle you. All of a sudden you get up against another defense and there's nowhere to go. Starts in, does a good job. Now turn it up the field. No, you're not going to outrun them. You just can't circle these defenses. They're just too fast.
Second and goal from the 8.
Buster Screen's been very busy in the secondary of the Jets.
This drive now 8 minutes and 15 seconds old. All right, trips right now. Colt McCoy out of the gun. On second and goal from the 8. Quick toss to Jamison Crowder. Tries to find the edge. Cuts back inside. Touchdown, Redskins. But there's a flag on the play. Marcus Williams gets the miss. A nice move by Jamison Crowder.
Pass interference, number 13, offense. 10-yard penalty, still second down.
Pass interference call on Maurice Harris. We talked about this last week, Joe. Positive play negated.
There's the flash screen. He's engaged with the defensive back. In all likelihood, made contact before the ball was caught and gets called for it. Again, you're talking about a young guy, a rookie, who has to learn the rules.
So instead of a 7-yard score, the Redskins now once again will work from their 18-yard line. McCoy on a second and goal from the 18. Rashad Ross split left, Crowder inside. Thompson lined up wide right. McCoy finds Crowder again, who tries that same move, knocked out of bounds at the 8-yard line. Buster screen on the tackle.
Now, once again, the question the fans are asking is, why wouldn't you try and get in the end zone? Why wouldn't you try and get the touchdown? Because you have to hold the ball longer. The defense is all compressed. The holes are a lot smaller. The chances of bad things happening are much greater. Take the open receiver, put your defense out there, let the special teams kick the field goal, have the attempt, and then go play defense. It's just smart football.
One more down here. Third and goal now. Just inside the 9. McCoy. Audibles. Ryan Grant split right. McCoy looks left and right. Out of the pocket. Buys some time. Throws it up. And picked off by Darrelle Revis. Colt McCoy with his hands on his helmet. He knew that was a mistake.
And he should have his hands on his helmet. You're down in an area where you have to protect points. This is just a complete mind stop. Colt's running around. Throw it away. Just throw it away. Don't lean backwards and throw it anywhere near where someone can get to it. Darrelle Revis winds up making just another interception.
Preseason football is brought to you in part by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 50% or more on car insurance. Prop Metcalf, home of the 5-star technician. And by Ford F-150, the official truck of the Washington Redskins. Back here at FedEx Field, the Jets take over from their own 20-yard line on a what can only be deemed not a very good effort.
The thing that runs through the quarterback's mind has to be protect the points. You're scrambling around, you're running around. Don't even put it anywhere near where you think someone can get their hands on it as a defensive guy. And coach just got to be sick.
The Revis Island.
It's like, why? You ask yourself why. He'll bounce back, though. That's the important thing. You got to bounce back through tough times. Listen to the coach. You know what you did wrong. You move the ball well. Take advantage of the next opportunity.
All right, Ryan Fitzpatrick takes over for the Jets. Play action quickly. And Brandon Marshall with a little alligator arm there. Tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Bud Light, who reminds fans to make the right call and drink responsibly. You'll see no Nick Mangold tonight. He is out for the Jets.
Ryan Clady comes over from the Denver Broncos because DeBrickashaw Ferguson chose to retire at the age of 32. Not injuries. Just felt like he wasn't playing to the standard of excellence that he felt like he set for himself, and I give him a lot of credit.
A lot of young guys now beginning to make decisions like that. Fitzpatrick, the give up the middle. Bilal Powell on the carry, gain of 1. And we'll see a third down for the Jets. As we take a look at the Redskins defense, there have been some changes now. Ricky Jean-Francois, the Kendrick Golston, oldest guy on the squad.
Playing the nose. Martell Spade inside. Preston Smith has had a really solid camp. And in the secondary, D'Angelo Hall and David Bruton, 2 new safeties, I guess you could say, working together.
Jets with a trip left formation. Fitzpatrick out of the gun. Straight drop for Fitzpatrick. They'll go up top and almost picked off by Greg Toller. Pass intended for Eric Decker. It'll be Redskins ball.
Decker and Kimbrell Thompson in the same spot. Good defense. All set up. I think that whole defense was set up by the second down opportunity to stop them from running the football inside, which is a major emphasis for the defensive coordinator Joe Barry to his team.
So Lachlan Edwards will handle the punting duties for the Jets. And back for the Redskins, Jamison Crowder. Kick on its way. Crowder from the 16, knocked around. Ball still loose. Finally picked up by the Redskins. Quentin Dunbar on the recovery. 51-yard punt. And on the field for the Jets is Quincy Enunwa, who forced that fumble. We'll take a timeout here. Redskins get the ball. Let's see what they can do right here on the Redskins Broadcast Network. The new Redskins mobile app is here. Live access, the latest news, videos, and scores. Connect with other Redskins fans through enhanced chat and social media outlets. Download for free on iTunes or Google Play and create a profile for the chance to win exclusive Redskins rewards all season long.
Well, Chick, so far we've seen a missed handoff, a bad decision with an interception in the end zone, and now a muffed punt, which should have either been fair caught or held on to. Probably fair caught when you have somebody that close.
A loss of 16 on that fumbled punt. All right, Jamison Crowder. Colt McCoy under center. Matt Jones up the field for a gain of 5. Darren Lee on the tackle for the Jets.
Nice job on the right side by Brandon Sheriff and Morgan Moses. Right guard, right tackle, gets his position around, ride the defensive lineman out, get to the second level. That's where you want to see offensive linemen. If the running back is on the ground 7 yards down the field, you want to see some offensive linemen in that area as well.
Jones 4 carries, 17 yards on the night so far. 2 tight end set now. Now it's Paul Vernon Davis in for the Skins. McCoy works under center. The give to Jones. He'll go left side. Got some room and a first down to the 26-yard line. Darren Lee on the tackle by the Jets. Gain of 9.
Last year when Corey Lichtensteiger got hurt, the offensive running game changed a little bit. Wasn't as effective. Now with the traffic cop in the middle, does a really, really nice job. Number 78, getting everybody positioned where they need to be. On that one, though, it was Spencer Long. A little more size than Corey.
So first down now from the 26-yard line. Jones remains in the backfield. Here at FedEx Field in Landover, the Skins 6 wins last year. McCoy short arms one to Logan Paulson. Jordan Jenkins on the coverage there. I feel bad for Logan. He had a catch last week that was called back. Also had another short ball. He gets one here.
He's pretty big.
He's huge.
You wouldn't think he'd throw at his ankles.
He's huge at 6'5", 268 in his 7th season out of UCLA. Maurice Harris on the near side. And we've got a flag.
Neutral zone infraction, number 97, defense, 5-yard penalty, be a second down.
A bit of good news for the Redskins. Lawrence Thomas called. So the Redskins reset from their own 31. On a 2nd and 5.
Todd Bowles was one of those really bright defensive backs that you just felt like he was going to wind up being a coach in this business, and has done a terrific job, I think, so far, with a very young in his career as the Jets head coach.
Matt Jones on the draw left side. He'll get about 2. Lorenzo Molden on the tackle.
See, those are the kind of runs that the young running backs have to observe. You have to see Matt Jones tuck it up inside. There really wasn't a lot there, but you wound up with some positive yards. So if you pick up 2, that's okay.
Matt Jones already with 6 carries on the night. So Matt Jones and Ryan Grant very active for this Redskins offense so far. Chris Thompson now in the backfield. Vernon Davis on the near side. Pitch right to Thompson. Morgan Moses leading the way, and Brandon Scherf. Thompson picking it and weaving out at the 46-yard line. Marcus Gilchrist on the tackle for the Jets. Gain of 13 for Chris Thompson.
Excellent job at the point of attack. Vernon Davis sealing right there. Morgan Moses coming around. Brandon Scherf. You see what I'm talking about with Brandon Scherf out front, number 75. Chris Thompson's on the ground right around where Brandon Scherf is. That's what I'm talking about when we get to the next level down the field. Coach Bill Callahan emphasized that this week when it came to his offensive line.
Washington 112 yards so far on offense. Marcel Jensen, Vernon Davis now in for the Redskins. That's Matt Jones left side. Looking for some room. Knocked out of bounds near the 50-yard line. Calvin Pryor on the tackle. And it is clear, Joe, that the run game is that point of emphasis for this Redskins team so far.
Well, I think they felt a little embarrassed last week against the Atlanta Falcons. Didn't do the things they needed to do up front. I'm sure Coach Callahan challenged the offensive line, because that's really where it all starts. Now we've seen him run inside somewhat effectively as well as outside. And I'm concerned about Matt Jones because he's hanging that left arm in a way that it doesn't look normal.
Not a good sign. 49 yards rushing so far for the Redskins. McCoy, little play action, goes right side. Nice move to get away from 1 and 2. Up the field, McCoy, and the slide down at the 42-yard line. Colt McCoy with that, what we call escapability.
What you call is, I'm going to make up for the mistake I made before. I mean, that's determination. Plants his foot in the ground, gets away from one, comes around from the other, does a good job. They don't think he can run as well as he does, and makes a really nice play.
Colt McCoy in an 8-yard run, and still looking for his athletic supporter might be Lorenzo Malden and company. Take a timeout. Redskins fans, plan ahead for the home opener on Monday night, September 12th, as the Redskins host the Steelers at 7 p.m. at FedEx Field. A reminder to get there early. Opening day on a national stage, and it's a 7 o'clock kickoff, so get there early. Also, save the date. Saturday, September 10th, from 3 to 6 p.m., it's the Redskins rally kickoff party at 1 Loudon in Ashburn, Virginia. More details to be released next week.
Getting around exciting time. The Steelers coming in on Monday night. What a way to start the season.
Absolutely.
Give you an idea where you are in a hurry.
All right, Colt McCoy out of the shotgun on a first down, and McCoy drop back straight, finds Vernon Davis up the field down to the 23-yard line. David Harris on the tackle. And we have a flag on the play.
It's either a
Illegal
flag
shift. 2 men moving and not resetting. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
There you go. Another big gain negated by an illegal shift. But I want to show you what happened to Matt Jones. He gets outside now. He lands right on that left shoulder. And looks like it bothers him a little bit. He's been taken to the locker room. We'll try and figure out exactly what has transpired. Hopefully it's not serious, whatever it might be.
You hope a stinger, nothing else.
Yeah, another big play, an illegal shift this time. We saw a variety of different types of penalties last week, and the Redskins have made enough miscues tonight for an entire game in a quarter and change.
The third crucial penalty for the Redskins. 1st and 15 now from the 50. Thompson left side. He'll get about 5. Josh Martin on the tackle. The first quarter, 1st and 10 line is brought to you by Inova, the official sports medicine provider of the Washington Redskins.
This is where you need one of the young running backs to step up. You need somebody to step in there and be the big guy for Matt Jones, because Chris Thompson cannot be the continuing guy. Lots of good plays up front. Ryan Grant making some plays, but Darrelle Revis rained on Colt McCoy's parade.
Redskins have the 2nd down when we come back. Time now for the first quarter stats, brought to you by USAA, official military appreciation sponsor of the Washington Redskins.
Redskins offense has controlled this game. You can see by the few yards, really minuscule amounts of yards that the Jets have in the time of possession. 14 minutes to a minute. And the Redskins are driving again.
Redskins with the 2nd and 11 from the 44. McCoy out of the shotgun. Looking to get some positive yardage. Out of the gun, straight drop. Again, gets out of the pocket. Will slide down at the 46-yard line, loss of 2. Geico, what to watch for? Joe?
I still want to watch the offensive line protect. I want to see what's going to happen when the first offense goes out. Can they still protect against a pressure defense? And will they be able to continue to find a running back to be able to fill in? Because you can't keep giving the ball to Chris Thompson. So I'm still focusing on what I want to see out of the running backs, the young ones, in this 2nd quarter.
3rd and 13 from the 46. Matt Jones already in the locker room with a shoulder injury of some sort. Chris Thompson in that backfield. McCoy out of the gun. Straight drop. And he is dropped himself. Leonard Williams with the sack. Redskins going backwards.
Leonard Williams only had 3 sacks last year, but once he gets a head of steam going up, we talked about the strength of this team. It's the defensive line. He comes around and just bowls over Chris Thompson. That is truly a mismatch. 302 versus 195. He just pushed him out of the way like he wasn't there.
Redskins offense resulting in 1 interception and 2 sacks right here so far. Tress Way on had a great night last week in Atlanta. Jeremy Ross back for the Jets. Left footer gets it off. Down the right side, and a great kick by Tress Way again. And that ball will be down at the 3-yard line. So once again, Tress Way doing his job. It'll be Jets football from their own 3-yard line. The Redskins defense looking to make a name for themselves on the Redskins Broadcast Network. Back here at FedEx Field, a scoreless ball game with 13:24 to go in the first half of play. Check out our Twitter ticker presented by Print and Play from the Virginia Lottery, proud sponsor of the Washington Redskins. Tweet at Redskins with hashtag HTTR or hashtag Redskins Talk to join the conversation.
You say Cravens, let's go. The defense hasn't been on the field for a minute. Not getting any chance to play.
But now they are, Joe, with a large amount of field to cover here.
Very dangerous, explosive offense.
Fitzpatrick out of the shotgun. Bilal Powell goes left side. Sheds 1, sheds 2, gets up near the 15-yard line. David Bruton Jr. stretches it out.
That's what gets coaches upset. You've got them pinned back in. You get a shot at him on the outside. I mean, it's one-on-one. It's just you missed the tackle.
David Bruton Jr. on the miss.
Just let him get outside and make the turn. The safeties have to fill and fit properly. That time he gave too much of the outside to him.
Gain of 10, first down for the Jets on their own 13-yard line. Fitzpatrick left side. Jason Morrow, the tight end, with the catch.
Jason Morrow is interesting. After every practice, he goes to the jug machine and just catches balls after ball after ball. Just wants to work on his hands, wants to make this football team and be a valuable part. The tight end position of the Jets had 8 catches last year. 8. Jordan Reed gets that in a game.
Gain of 3, 2nd and 7 from the 16. Out of the gun, Fitzpatrick will work. Well, Powell left side. Shoves it up the middle. We've got a flag on the play. The Jets trying to get something going. Here's the call.
Holding, number 67, offense, half the distance to the goal.
Brian Winters. It's called for the hold. Truck guys can't stop talking about Ford. And now during the Ford Freedom Sales event, get the best deals of the summer on Ford F-150s. Check out the official truck of the Washington Redskins at your local Ford dealer or go to MidAtlanticFordDealers.com. So the Jets go backwards. They got 2nd and 15.
This is where defensively you have to make a play and can't give up the big opportunity to gain yards.
Fitzpatrick is 5 wide. Fumble! There's D'Angelo Hall, always around the loose ball. Kellen Davis with the catch. Gives it up, and D'Angelo Hall with the recovery. Big play by that Redskins defense.
Well, we talked about the Jets tight ends. They didn't have a lot of opportunities to make catches last year. This one gives up. But again, D'Angelo Hall shifted from corner to safety, playing the middle of the field. As you mentioned, Chick, always around the ball. Just knows how to be able to make plays, protect it, get on the ground. And the Redskins are in scoring position again.
Thanks to Martrell Spate on the hit, knocks the ball out, and D'Angelo Hall picks it up, and the Redskins are in business. 1st and 10 from the 17.
Well, we talked about it last week. The Redskins defense forced 36 fumbles last year. #1 in the league.
A new running back on the field for the Redskins, Robert Kelly, now in the backfield. McCoy works under center. 11:49 to go, and Kelly with a give and just churns his way down near the 10-yard line. They'll mark it at the 11. Bruce Carter on the tackle for the Jets.
A lot of the conversation this week, Chick, has been about the Redskins running game. I think it's been all the critics have been silenced this evening by the job that the offensive line is doing. You look at the running backs, they're getting 3 and 4 yards down the field before they're ever making contact with the defensive player. That's the offensive line doing their job.
2nd and 4 now. Grant in the slot right. Crowder outside of him. And that's Robert Kelly again, who weaves his way down inside the 10, down to the 8-yard line. Near a first down. Gordon Jenkins and Lawrence Thomas on the tackle for New York.
This is a preseason moment, Chick. I call them preseason moments because if it is short, they're bringing the chain in, going to take a look at it. If it is short, you get a chance to look at your short yardage formation.
And you can see there, that is Aaron Henderson, the injured Jet, the former Maryland Terrapin, in his 8th season out of Maryland. We are back here on the Redskins. There's still time to become a season ticket member for the 2016 season. Join the Premium Club today for premier views, year-round benefits, and more. Call 301-276-6800 or visit tickets.redskins.com to learn more. Use promo code PREMIUM. So the Redskins in business now on a 3rd and 2 from the Jets 9 after a turnover. Fumble pick up by D'Angelo Hall. McCoy will work out of the gun. Crowder and Ross split right. There's a low pass to Niles Paul. They'll call it a catch at the 7. At least one referee is calling it good. Montez Miles on the coverage.
We've seen Colt McCoy throw a couple of them into the ground. I mean, he's got him wide open and outside and just throws this one down into the ground. Niles does a good job to go down and get it. And this is what you want to do. I talked about the preseason moment. Here it is.
Jay Gruden electing to go for it on 4th and 1.
Absolutely you would. Get everybody set. That's the most important thing.
Kelly in the backfield. McCoy under center. The give to Robert Kelly, reads his way. The question is, did he get far enough? Montez Miles on the pushback on Robert Kelly, and they went for it. Well, didn't get it.
The Jets feel like they didn't make it, and it's been confirmed by Walt Coleman.
So the Jets hold on a 4th and 1. It'll be their ball. Their offense starts at the 7-yard line. This is Redskins football, the Redskins Broadcast Network. Getting wrapped up in Richmond, Redskins defensive end Ricky Jean-Francois provided some relief in the heat. Last Sunday, the final open practice in Richmond saw the peanut butter and jelly man take over an ice cream truck, treating the kids to snow cones. What? I was not invited. Well done, Ricky John.
Of course, Josh Norman's there to get his.
Of course he is. Fans had a great time as year 4 at the Bonds Course Redskins Training Camp Center came to a close. That looks good right about now. Jets taking over. Ryan Fitzpatrick under center from their own 8-yard line. Quick toss left to Brandon Marshall. He gets knocked out of bounds by Greg Toller.
Greg Toller's had a really solid training camp. Made a lot of plays. We saw him last week make one against the Falcons. Now he gets to bring down the big body of Brandon Marshall. Speaking of the Redskins, both times to the 8-yard line, they've gotten to the Jets' 8-yard line, stopped on 4th down and interception. So the offense is going to have to do a better job trying to get it in the end zone and give the defense an opportunity to be able to continue to make plays.
2nd and 5 from the 13 now. Fitzpatrick will work out of the gun. Eric Decker on the near side. And he looks this way. The post pattern to Decker. Tapped down by Quentin Dunbar. Our second with the 3rd member of our broadcast team. CP, what do you have?
Guys, I'm standing here with Pierre, who had the night off. How good is it to see these guys go out and make plays in your absence?
It definitely feels good for the team. You know, we definitely need guys to step up. It's a long year, so we definitely need those guys to play well, and they get an opportunity now to get that experience.
So what encourages your blocking habits?
I just enjoy playing football. You know, when the defense get an opportunity to hit us, they're going to hit us hard. So when I get a chance to hit them, I'm going to hit them hard.
There you have it.
Thank you, CP, as Bilal Powell. The gain of 11. Perry Riley Jr. on the tackle to be 1st down, New York. Our way through the 2nd quarter play. Gain of 11 for Powell.
Of course, the one thing we haven't talked about is Chris Ivory has gone to Jacksonville. He had 1,000 yards for the Jets a year ago, and Matt Forte has come on. Matt had almost 900 last year for the Chicago Bears. It's interesting to see how the Bears will do without Matt Forte. And certainly coming here to the Jets, he gives them an opportunity to be able to have quite the running back available.
1st and 10 from the 37. Fitzpatrick left side. Big fella Chase Amaro can't quite hang on to it. It'll be 2nd down for New York.
I think he's got to spend a little more time on the jug machine. He talks about the fact that he spent a lot of time. It never hurts. It's a good move. I mean, he runs like a wide receiver. Ball's perfectly thrown, perfectly placed. And it gets away from him.
Duke Ianacho on the coverage. So 2nd and 10 now. From the 37. A little Powell in the backfield. Eric Decker at the bottom of your screen. Out of the gun, Fitzpatrick will work. Pressured by Trent Murphy. Low pass. Incomplete. Intended for Kenbrell Tompkins. It'll be 3rd down. That's a Redskins defense.
That's a good job by the guys up front. Kendall Rios. Just get your arms up. Big body, big arms. Get that arm up. Make him throw around you. There you go. That's the kind of penetration that this defensive line has to get.
A little pressure from Preston Smith, and Kendall Reyes gets it done with the big body, as Joe said. So third down now, and the whistle's blown. Fitzpatrick 4 for 8 for 35 yards.
Timeout. Jets.
And the Jets call timeout with 7:49 to go here in this first half of play. We got more Redskins football coming your way.
Papa John says hail to the Redskins with 50% off regular menu prices the day after every Redskins win. Enter promo code HTTR50. That's hail to the Redskins 50 at papajohns.com. Your one and only official pizza of the Washington Redskins for over 17 years. And I've got my box right here. Inside is a very special pizza, but I'm not going to eat it yet because I'm saving it to give some to Chick a little bit later.
Some?
We'll have some.
Okay.
All right, I'll give you a piece a little bit later. Got my pizza. I'm ready to go.
The heck?
Yes, sir. Time for Papa John's pizza.
3rd and 10 from the 37 for the Jets. Fitzpatrick will work out of the gun. He's got 4 wide. And Bilal Powell in the backfield. Pressure up the middle. Tries to dump it off to Bilal. Nice push by big swaggy Chris Baker. The brand new Papa this year.
Boy, if you're Joe Barry, the defensive coordinator, you have to be thrilled with the fact that you can rush 4 on 3rd and 10. Make Ryan Fitzpatrick hold it just a little bit longer and then get pressure on him to make it throw it away. $12 million man hits the green grass.
So the Jets will punt. Lachlan Edwards handle that duty. We'll see if Jamison Crowder can get a better result than last time on the muffed punt. It's on its way. Crowder from his own 10-yard line. Right side. Still on his feet. Got some room. Knocked out of bounds at the, we're going to call it 19-yard line, but there is a penalty flag on the play. 53-yard punt, 9-yard return for Crowder.
During the kick, holding, return team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Did not name the criminal in that one.
A lot of times when you see the gunners hold people up and you don't see anybody near the punt returner, usually means something good hasn't happened.
Be right back. 32 to go here in this first half of play. An unblemished scoreboard so far. Here's what some of the fans are saying. I feel like Laval is the key to unlock our running game. Dude makes space. I guess he does.
They're all big up front that make space. We're glad Redskin football's back too.
Thank you, Joe, for that tweet.
You're welcome.
No, that Joe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not that Joe. I thank you as well.
Oh, you're welcome.
D'Angelo Hall, nice pickup. Yeah, that's what he does. He's always around the ball.
Some changes in the offensive line. Josh Laribas is in. Jacoby Cofield in. Spencer Long at center. Got a lot of combinations. Bill Callahan likes to get 4 or 5 guys the ability to be able, give them an opportunity, the ability to play the center position.
1st and 10 from the 5 for the Burgundy and Gold, and Colt McCoy straight drop, going up top for Rashad Ross, and knocked away. Nice defensive play. Well done. Almost had him, couldn't quite get it above and over. And Justin Burris,
their rookie 4th round pick, Bales. It's all about speed, but he can't quite get far enough up the field so that Colt can make the throw. Actually, it's a terrific defensive play. You're talking about a pretty tall corner, 6 feet tall, a little over 210, and can run.
Redskins with just 6 seconds to go on the play clock now. Marcel Jensen was late into that huddle. The Redskins will call timeout. Late getting the play in, the Redskins forced to call timeout with 7:25 to go here in the second quarter of play. When they come back, a 2nd and 10 from their own 5.
I'm sure some people are wondering, during the timeout, why hasn't Colt McCoy gone to the sidelines? Because with the communicators in their helmets, Sean McVay can have a conversation with him. And remember last week we talked about Sean McVay going upstairs in the booth? That experiment is over. He didn't like it. It felt sterile for him. He feels like he can see the game very well down on the field. He can block out. any of the distractions that are necessary. He wants to be able to communicate, look the quarterbacks in the eyes, talk to Jay, talk to Coach Kavanaugh, the quarterback coach, and be able to communicate better down on the field.
2nd and 10 from the 5. Rashad Ross on the near side. Nice pass to Maurice Harris, who's got a lot of room. Nice throw by Colt McCoy. Harris knocked out of bounds at the 26-yard line. But there's a flag on the play in that end zone. Montez Miles.
If there's a holding penalty in the end zone, it'll be a safety.
Illegal use of hands to the face, number 61, offense. The foul occurred in the end zone. Safety. That's a safety.
So Spencer Long called for the hands to the face. It is a safety for the New York Jets.
Number 61 is the center, just the left part of your screen. I'm not sure whether he doesn't have the jersey pushed up that high or it's in the face. I think he was grabbing onto the jersey and he just pushed it up high. It looked like it was in the face, but I'm not sure it was.
As we went to break, you can see head coach Jay Gruden was nonplussed by that call by Walt Coleman. May have had an issue there.
And I think he's right in his complaint. You see 61, he's got the jersey pushed up, but he does not have his hand in the face of the defensive lineman.
Jersey slides up into the grill. So Tressway will punt after the safety. And that's Jeremy Ross back at his own 7-yard line. Pushing it back there, but he gets knocked down by Duke Iheanacho at the 22-yard line.
Critical penalties for the Redskins. They've nullified a touchdown, nullified a 20-yard gain, and now the penalty has caused a safety. So the special teams, as we talked about, have done a very good job through the evening. Guys making plays, individuals getting down the field, one-on-one tackling. It's the mistakes, once again, the critical penalties that have hurt this football team.
Jay Gruden said he wanted a cleaner ball game. Right now he's not getting it. As Geno Smith now the quarterback of the New York Jets in his 4th season out of West Virginia. The second quarter, 1st and 10 line is brought to you by the Maryland Lottery. Let yourself play. Tommy Bohannon left side, the big fullback with the carry. Terrence Garvin on the tackle for the Redskins. Tommy Bohannon, 6'1", 247 out of Wake Forest.
Had 4 receptions last year.
Look at Geno Smith there.
It's almost like the fullback position has become somewhat extinct in professional football with so many spread offenses and 4 or 5 wide receiver combinations like we see the Jets right now. Empty backfield.
2nd and 7 from the 25. Smith will work out of the shotgun. Trips right. He'll look right. And all knocked away. Nice play by Quentin Dunbar. All intended for Jalen Marshall.
Quentin Dunbar had his hands full with Aldrick Robinson last week against the Atlanta Falcons. But here you see used the long arm. The long arm is the one closest to the quarterback. His right hand reaches in, does a real nice job, knocks the ball away. As a matter of fact, the first long pass that Robinson caught last week really wasn't Quentin Dunbar's fault. There was a safety supposed to be in the middle of the football field, and he wasn't there, so the corner gets exposed.
Trips right now for the Jets and Geno Smith on the 3rd and 7 from the 25. Tough snap, he catches it. Pressure, a lot of pressure. Preston Smith applying that pressure along with Kendall Ray's. It'll be 4th down New York.
The 2 things we talked about, the running back, and of course the defensive line was the other one. But you see this pressure coming up, the speed of the defensive linemen are so impressive. And Preston Smith looks quicker than he did a year ago.
Ball will be placed, spot of the foul. Loss of down. 4th down.
So Geno Smith called for the intentional grounding. Moves that ball back a little bit further. Rashad Ross will be back to receive the punt. Lachlan Edwards will kick it for New York.
The Redskins have had so many opportunities to put points on the board in this first half and have squandered every one in one way or another. This is a chance to be able to put a drive together. Probably going to get good field position. It's a chance to put some points up.
Edwards will kick from just around his goal line, and there is a flag on the play. We got movement on the line.
False start, number 51, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
So Julian Stanford called for the false start. You can't go much further back here after a while. Lachlan Edwards will now step on the back line.
Yeah, he doesn't have a whole lot of room to go.
Rashad Ross back for the Redskins at his own 42. Trying to get something going here for this Redskins team with 6:18 to go here in this second quarter. Edwards to tick away. Houston Bates almost gets to that foot. Ross fields it at his 49-yard line and quickly brought down by Daryl Morris. The Redskins will get the ball at their own 48-yard line. The Fight for 53 feature is brought to you by USAA, official military appreciation sponsor of the Washington Redskins.
You look at the offensive line, and in all likelihood, they'll probably wind up keeping 9 of them. Trent Williams, obviously, is the anchor there. Sean Laval coming back from the injury. Corey Lichtensteiger at center. Came back last year from injury. Austin Ritter played pretty well last week against the Atlanta Falcons. Spencer Long spending time at center. Ari Quandro playing, the tackle position, moving inside to guard. They're big up front.
Colt McCoy still in at quarterback. A little play action up the middle. Maurice Harris got some room, catch the ball to the 38-yard line, down inside the 35. A nice throw and catch from Colt McCoy to Maurice Harris. Ronald Martin on the tackle, a gain of 14.
When you look at the Redskins wide receiving core, they're not that big, except Maurice Harris is 6'3" and 200 pounds. Does a nice job of catching the ball with his hands, protecting it. We saw him get a little bit of a nick in the Atlanta game. Had to leave that ball game for a little bit, but making some plays here.
The rookie out of California. Under center is McCoy from the 35. Straight drop. Goes left side, looking for Rashad Ross. Throw and catch down inside the 20-yard line. Down at the 19. Marcus Williams on the coverage.
Rashad Ross being the other speed guy on this offense, doing a nice job protecting the ball, get to the ground.
Nice little block by Robert Kelly.
Marcus Williams just giving him enough room to be able to make the play.
So Redskins once again deep inside the Jets territory on a 1st and 10 from the 19. Time winding down in this first half. And again, little play action. McCoy left side. Inside to Ryan Grant. Nice catch. Knocked out of bounds at the 4-yard line, it looks like. Mark it down at the 3.
I would say Colt McCoy is on a mission right now. He's on a mission to make up for what happened in the first quarter. Gets outside, does a really nice job of turning his shoulders and his hips with a very accurate pass.
Morris on the force out. This Redskins offensive gains of 14, 15, and 16 on this drive. So 1st and goal. Robert Kelly in the backfield. McCoy looks left. Little fade pattern. Rashad Ross. Touchdown. Redskins. Marcus Williams gets burned on the fade. Nice throw and catch.
Now Colt will be happy again. He wasn't happy. Now he'll be happy.
And that's big when you go into a halftime after what you did in that first quarter.
And you win the fade. You win this route at the line of scrimmage. You buy enough time. See how he gives that little bit of a shake? You buy enough time to have Colt put the ball out where only you can get it. Good job. Well executed drive.
Dustin Hopkins will be on for the extra point.
Sean McVay, nice calls to get his quarterback back in rhythm.
You know, fans can't see it, but we can in practice. They work on that fade route
all the time.
Ad nauseum.
Well, you get one-on-one, you have to.
Hopkins, extra point is good. And the Redskins go 4 plays. McCoy 4 for 4 for 53 yards in a minute 53. And the Redskins on the board. It's 7-2.
Colt gets the ball out of his hands long before the plan of the foot is made. Rashad Ross leaves him an opportunity to be able to put the ball in. There you go. That's a happy guy. Now he can breathe again. I've been there. I mean, you make that kind of mistake and it just eats away at you. And you just say, gosh, I've got to give me an opportunity to make up for it, which he just did.
And it's a mistake, by the way, that it's just so apparent. There's not a whole lot of talking in the film session afterwards.
There's no hiding. It's not like, oh, well, I couldn't see him. I had a hand in my face. Some guy was grabbing my jersey. Oh, it's just a bad decision.
Redskins fight song blaring here at FedEx Field. Redskins back home. You see Josh Norman there, who a great addition, not playing tonight. Bunch of defenders not playing tonight. Jay Gruden and company giving them the rest. They will play in that third preseason game for sure, as the Redskins will look to make the decisions in that fourth on some of the players. Justin Hopkins will kick off. Jeremy Ross back for the Jets. And Ross in the left corner. Nice kick by Hopkins. It'll be jet ball from their own 25. As you said, here comes the miscues.
Yeah, the Redskins made a few mistakes. Colt McCoy does a nice job of scrambling around. Now he gets outside. This is an opportunity to throw the ball away and put points on the board. As it turns out, Darrelle Revis makes the interception. Jamison Crowder loses the punt. And then you get stopped on fourth down. Your offensive line could create the opportunity to be able to make a play. And then you get up the field a little bit and you wind up with a penalty in the end zone causing a safety.
Geno Smith, your quarterback for the New York Jets.
I was trying to figure out how to describe that call. It was a bad call.
That's fair enough. Smith, play action, left side. Quentin Dunbar on the coverage. Teron Peak with the catch up to the 34-yard line.
Quentin Dunbar is so long. You have to understand, he's so young. The guy came last year as a free agent wide receiver and really caught the eye of Jay Gruden, who made the switch and asked him to put him over on defense because he did a really good job as holding up gunners on the punt team. The gunners are the two guys that run down the field to cover the punts. And now he's, toe-to-toe on receivers. And last year he started against Des Bryant, I believe, or Odell Beckham and James Jones in the playoffs.
Played 11 games, one start last year with 12 tackles and an interception. Timeout called by the
second
New York Jets.
Team timeout. Jets.
Here with 3:29 to go here in this first half of play. It's a pretty good rushing effort by the Redskins. Washington Redskins would like to thank all of the 2016 partners who support the team's season-long military appreciation program. Operation Salute Our Troops. Visit redskins.com/OSOT for more information.
Can't thank them enough. Cannot thank the families of our military, the veterans that have served, and those men and women that are serving today. Just being able to give us a chance to be able to live our lives in this wonderful country of ours.
Well said. All right, it's Jets ball, 2nd and 1 from the 34. Zamaro in motion. They got trips left. Smith will give to Tommy Bohannon. And Bohannon gets knocked down. Rookie Jean-Francois on the tackle. See if they get enough for the first down. And they do.
Chick, the defensive line setup is extremely interesting. I mean, you have Chris Baker, Golston, Trent Murphy can play up there. Then Kendall Reyes has stepped in and played well. Ziggy Hood has had a very, very good camp.
Yep.
We've talked about Lanier coming in and playing. Matt Adonis is, the rookie 5th round choice has rotated through. A lot of guys have come through. A lot of different, a lot of versatility up front.
1st and 10 from the 36. Geno Smith out of the gun, straight drop. Looking left side. That ball is bounced. Intended for Robbie Anderson, but a flag on the play. They will.
It's going to be holding, or actually grabbing, Not allowing the wide receiver to come back for the ball.
Prior to the pass, holding, number 38, defense.
Kendall
5-yard
Fuller,
penalty, first down.
the rookie out of Virginia Tech. Young man from Our Lady of Good Counsel
Part
High
of
School.
the football family of Fullers. There's the defensive line. Talk about Ricky John, Chris. Ziggy, like I said, has played well. Jarrell Poe.
Matt Ioannidis
Steven
there.
Paya.
Jarrell Poe not playing tonight. He had the heart arrhythmia, but they have taken care of that. He's okay.
He's okay. He'll probably be back next week.
Good news. All right, Geno Smith working with a 4 wideout set here. Jason Morrow in motion out of the shotgun. Will fake to Bohannon, and Smith right side, and that's the big fella, Jason Morrow. And as you said, Joe, he needs to go back and let Judge go.
Well, that was thrown too far, but yeah, it was really a tough catch. You know, Geno Smith lost his job basically last year because he got punched in the jaw and wound up missing time. And he's a young man that just has to make his mind up that no matter what anybody says, no matter what's going on, I'm going to try and make myself a better football player. This is his opportunity to shine. This is his chance to show the Jets that the faith that they put in him is warranted.
2nd and 10 from the 41 with 2:34 to go. Smith dropped and picked off by Will Blackman. Boy, did he read that quick and early, and Will Blackman with the interception. It's Redskins ball again, 2nd turnover of the night.
Joe Barry, the defensive coordinator, has to be thrilled. Now remember, Will Blackman was a corner. He's never played safety, but he has the skills of a safety. Good job. 4-man pressure once again. Cuts underneath the receiver. Geno Smith looks right, comes back left. You say to yourself, when you see a throw like this, there's a lot of people around him and somebody's underneath it, but he still makes the throw. This is where I would love to sit in a film session and say, what did you see that caused you to throw the ball out there?
He had 2 interceptions and 3 forced fumbles last year. Gets a pick right here. The Redskins are in business from the 39-yard line. Colt McCoy will work out of the gun. Robert Kelly in the backfield. Maurice Harris at the bottom of your screen. McCoy looking up top. Looking for Rashad Ross. The catch. Rashad Ross with an acrobatic catch. Nice throw from Colt McCoy. Justin Burris. Bird.
Perfectly thrown ball. When we talk about people getting in rhythms, in preseason games, it's so tough in 2 or 3 series to find yourself. You make a mistake, you're gone. This is just flat speed. Now he goes up and goes and gets it. Terrific job of wanting the ball. Who wants it more? The defender or do I? He puts it away, protects it, doesn't let it hit the ground, and Colt McCoy is just thrilled.
39-yard throw and catch. Rashad Ross with 2 catches and 2 touchdowns on the night.
It's a pretty happy sideline over there. It's great to see the guys that aren't playing cheering for the guys that are playing.
Justin Hopkins will take the extra point. It is up. It is good. And the Redskins with a 14-2 lead. Let's take a look at the drive of the game presented by Ford F-150, the official truck of the Washington Redskins.
Colt McCoy goes 4 for 4 on this drive, picking up big chunks. Good job inside, picking up the blitz. Gets one out to the sideline, and a little play action fake. Scrambling around, threads the needle to Ryan Grant. And then a beautiful fade to Rashad Ross. Not only can Ross run, but he also has nice feet. Good job going up, getting the ball down around the end zone.
Colt McCoy, 14 of 17 for 159. So after a shaky start with that interception, he's come back nicely. We hope to see Nate Sudfeld in the second half. You're just joining us now. Kirk Cousins giving the night off on his birthday.
Interesting enough, too, when I was talking to Nate down on the field before the game, I said, you know, you played really well in that 4th quarter. He said, I could play so much better. But we're going to get a chance to see.
We shall. The Redskins will kick. Jalen Marshall back for the Jets.
Jalen Marshall took one back last week. Got a ton of speed. Sort of a surprise guy. The Jets talk about him. He played quarterback in high school. They talk about him being a very, very bright player. Well, I wanted to wait till the ball landed out of the end zone before I finished the sentence. You were looking at me. I figured I'll wait till it ends and then start.
The new Redskins mobile app is here. Take advantage of all the latest features. Stay up to the minute with Redskins news and enhance your game day experience with chances to win exclusive rewards and special offers when you set up your profile. Available now on iTunes and Google Play. Dustin Hopkins, a very strong leg.
And Jay Gruden with a very big smile. He's really starting to like what he sees a lot more than he saw last week.
Much to like.
Starting on the 25-yard line. There's the new rule. 1 year to examine it.
Smith up the middle. Robbie Anderson on the catch. Gain of 4.
Good job in the open field making the tackle by Will Blackman.
2 straight nice defensive plays by Will Blackman in that safety role. They have called the 2-minute warning here with the Redskins up 14-2. The Jets on a 2nd and 5 from their own 30 when we come back here on the Redskins broadcast network. Will Blackman with the interception, and then Rashad Ross with the nice catch from 39 yards out. By the Washington Redskins Charitable Foundation and Catholic Charities took place on Saturday, August 13th at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. Right here. The Back to School Fair is designed to provide under-resourced children with everything they need to be prepared for the upcoming school year. Roughly 500 registered students were able to receive services including dental exams, haircuts, new books, as other essential items for the school year. Smith, Robbie Anderson once again on the connection up to the 38-yard line. Kendall Fuller on the tackle, a gain of 8. And the Jets doing the chains. .140 to go here. Smith out of the shotgun. Straight drop. And Jalen Marshall with his own defense. Nice knockdown by himself.
And the Jets only have 1 timeout. They've used a couple of them. That's where you want to keep them in the bank. You just want to hold on to them. In this particular type of a situation, you're down by 12. You get a score here, you're right back in the ball game, and that's what you have to think about. But certainly the Fitzpatrick as well as Geno Smith have had problems with the receivers holding on to the ball for him.
So Smith on a 2nd and 10 from the 38. 5 in the route tree. And Robbie Anderson, Geno Smith and Robbie Anderson hooking up quite a lot here. Will Blackman on the coverage.
Robbie Anderson's got an interesting body type. 6'3", he's only 190 pounds. He's lean and doesn't look frail at all. Got some nice moves, good hands. Makes catching the football look easy. That's what I always look at. Do guys fight the ball when it comes to you, or does it sort of flow into your hand? Like Jordan Reed just sort of picks it out of the air.
Gain of 17 from the Redskin 45 now. Smith, straight drop, quick slant pattern. Jalen Marshall on the catch. Martrell Spate on the tackle.
We've called Martrell Spate's name in the Atlanta game. We've done it again here. We talked about the linebacker position. He's got to be thrilled to be back playing. He lost a year because of the concussion, and now he's making up for it.
His 2nd year out of Arkansas. Smith knocked away. Nice play by Kendall Fuller on the reach. Trying to go for Robbie Anderson again, but Fuller, the freshman out of Virginia Tech. A freshman. I'm sorry. Well,
freshman.
That's what I think of him.
He is a freshman.
He is a freshman.
He is a freshman.
I watched that kid play his last high school ball game at Good Counsel.
I want to tell you, that was a heck of a play. I mean, we've seen Quentin Dunbar use the long hand inside. This time he comes around with the left one and just knocks it away without ever contacting the receiver. Young secondary playing really well tonight.
Do you remember your freshman year at Notre Dame?
Yes, I do. Played 1 game.
Gets 0 for 3 on third down. Smith and Jace Amaro on the catch, trying to get away. And they'll call him down. Duke Iheanacho on the tackle.
Well, now that's a heck of a play by Duke. You've got a tight end, one-on-one, the middle of the football field, no help on a third down play, and you have to make a tackle and stop him, and that's exactly what he did.
6'5", 265 is the big fella. Fourth down now. Smith out of the gun, goes left side. That's a big push off, but no call there.
Now,
Intended for Jerron Pete.
they don't call offensive people pushing off. Tight ends, yes. Wide receivers, very seldom do you see it. Chris Carter made a living doing it. I know, watch it. There's the push off. He extends his arms away from his body to get the defender out of the way. And, you know, Kendall Fuller says, hey, you called one on me for grabbing. How about him pushing me away?
The rookie will learn.
What are you going to do with 26 seconds? Couple of timeouts.
What'd you do?
Here, I'd take a shot at picking up enough yards to try and get to about the 35 to give, you know, Dustin an opportunity to kick a long field goal.
Oh, Jay and Sean said we're not listening
But
to you.
see, I'm not the coach. That's why I'm up here. You and I are visiting, having a good time talking to everybody. And Jay says, okay, it's preseason. I don't want to take a chance on anybody getting hurt. We're going to the locker room.
And they will go to that locker room with a 14-2 lead on a pretty good first half from Colt McCoy after a horrific interception. Comes back, throws 2 touchdown passes, both into Rashad Ross. And the Redskins will go into that locker room with the lead. Halftime coming up here on the Redskins Broadcast Network. Highlights and more coming your way. Back here at halftime, 14-2. Nice 2-run shot by the Jets.
No, it's the end of the 7th.
Is that right?
It's the end of the 7th.
Halftime highlights brought to you by Subway. Eat fresh, Joe.
Our defense has really stepped up, and that's where we're going to focus our Subway highlights at halftime here. The defense doing a good job against the run, which is something we did not see last week against Atlanta. Got Ryan Fitzpatrick in, then let him make the catch, force the ball away. Martrell Spate, D'Angelo Hall with the reception, then defending the pass. Quentin Dunbar showing that long right arm on the inside, and then here comes the interception by Will Blackman, getting really comfortable at the safety position. And then once again, you get the young guy in Kendall Fuller making a play. The defense has played very well through the entire first half of this football game.
Tonight's halftime stats brought to you by SAS Analytics. The power to know. Look at the rushing yards there. That Redskins rushing game.
You know, Chan Gailey, the offensive coordinator of the Jets, has to be a little bit concerned because they're 0 for 4 on third down in this game. Against Jacksonville, they were 2 for 12. I mean, so really when you're 2 for 16 on third down, and that's unacceptable, would be the word I was looking
That's a good word.
It's a good word.
Sometimes on cable we use worse words.
But our defense, I think, has done a terrific job causing the 0 for 4 on third down.
Jalen Marshall will attempt to return the Dustin Hopkins kickoff here as we get ready for the second half of play. Redskins with a 14-2 lead. Colt McCoy with a pretty good first half. 2 touchdowns. Rashad Ross, the recipient of those 2 touchdown passes. Nice catch on a deep one from Mr. Ross. It's all about get your name called in these games, and Rashad Ross has got his name called several times tonight. Hopkins with the kick. It is deep, and the Jets will start from their 25-yard line. One of the guys who's not playing tonight is number 24, Josh Norman. Carolina last year, they let him go. Redskins picked him up quickly. The question is, why'd he come?
This is where I need to be. Family loved it. I loved it. The team, everybody was on the same page. It seemed to me in my own eyes. And now coming here and actually going through, I can help other people, man, not just myself. And I've seen it. So it's like being able to call something your own and working and mold it in a way, you know, you want it to be. And seeing that, man, it's nothing like it.
Besides, they weren't going to let him leave the building.
No.
That's the other point why he's here.
Yeah, I believe Bruce Allen actually had the greatest tackle on him, by the way. Bryce Petty now in for a quarterback for the Jets. Nice little throw and catch there to number 82, Brandon Bostic. Will Blackman on the tackle.
Of course, you might say Bryce Petty is in competing against Christian Hackenberg out of Penn State, who was the fourth quarterback.
Illegal formation
their second-round
on the offense. Number 18 covered up the receiver. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
So Kyle Williams called for the illegal formation, the 6th-year man out of Arizona State.
Back to Josh Norman. He's meant so much to this football team. When you have someone of that quality in the defense, it makes the offense better. The matchups between he and Deshaun have been fun to watch, and Pierre as well. I mean, Josh has told me, he said, what I want to do is I want to try and help people get better around me. He signed on a Friday, made his first meeting on that following Monday, and has not missed a meeting and or practice all through OTAs, minicamp, or training camp. A true professional.
Up the middle is Tommy Bohannon on the carry. Ricky Jean-Francois on the tackle. Look at Josh Norman in training camp, and so much made, a big deal made when he got beat by Deshaun Jackson. And Josh was like, hey, guess what? Everybody gets beaten up by Deshaun Jackson in training camp.
This is up against Pierre. He makes everybody work. I mean, it's on the other side of the field, you've got one of the greats as well, Darrelle Revis. Same type of players. You know, interceptions, if we get them, fine. If not, I'm just going to take the guy that I'm covering out of the game.
2nd and 11 from the 24. Petty goes left side, and Kendall Fuller loses his helmet. Tommy Bohannon, the big fullback at 6'1", 247, laid down his head.
You love to see a corner stick his helmet in.
Yeah,
it's a little wince. That's one of the things that you'll see in the National Football League this year. There are spotters upstairs that want to make sure that a player is 100% okay after a hit like that.
There's no foul for unnecessary roughness. He did not hit the runner with the crown of his helmet.
That's a new rule this year about they're checking the crown of the helmet. They're making sure that both offensive and defensive players don't lower their helmets, and they ruled that Kendall Fuller did not.
And all the efforts to continue to try and protect the players,
which needs and has to be done. I'm not sure Bohannon didn't do it right there.
You just don't see too many offensive guys run into people though.
So 3rd and 7 now from the 28 for the Jets. Bryce Petty, 2nd-year man out of Baylor. Straight drop, goes across, and Bohannon can't one-hand it. Incomplete. Sua Cravens, the pressure.
A little bit of pressure.
First time we've called his name tonight.
Well, we've seen Sua Cravens do a lot of different things. He's going to be the nickel linebacker. He'll be able to cover people in the slot because he has a defensive background. You see him big enough making plays on special teams. Last week he made a tackle out of linebacker position. This time he brings pressure, showing you his versatility at the position. That's why they want him to play just linebacker.
T.J. Thorpe, the rookie out of Virginia, back to receive this punt from his own 26-yard line. Up the gut, got some room, and knocked down at the 37-yard line. He had 2 kickoff returns last week. Josh Martin on the tackle for the Jets. So it'll be Redskin ball and a brand new quarterback in Nate Sudfeld when we come back on the Redskins Broadcast Network. FedEx Field here at the beginning of the second half of play right now. The Redskins with a 14-2 lead. Time now for our Geico what to watch for in the next 15 minutes. Mr. Theismann.
I want to see what Nate Sudfeld is going to do in this particular quarter. He's going to get a whole half to play. Can he finish? Can he start the way he finished against Atlanta with a very strong performance? And also, now that you have the second unit in, can you maintain consistency and continuity and not commit penalties?
As Nate Sudfeld came on the field, his brother Zach, a tight end for the Jets, went off the field. They've never played on the same field in all of their years of Little League ball. 6-year difference there. This is the first time. Sudfeld, they give to Keith Marshall now into the ball game. He's got some room. Picks up 11 on the carry. Rontez Miles with the tackle.
Sean McVay is going to give Keith Marshall an opportunity to be able to put the foot in the ground and get up the field. Show some of the speed that you've had. The power running, getting to the second level. These are the calls that Coach McVay is going to make to create the opportunity. We talked about the offensive line getting to the second level. They've done a very good job of it all night.
If you're paying attention, Jarvis Jenkins, the ex-Redskin, on the missed tackle there. 1st and 10 now. Number 47, Marshall. We give left side. He will get nothing. Marshall, who didn't fare so well last week. 5 carries for -1 yard.
I think he learned a lesson last week is you're not going to try and circle these defenses. That time he just put his nose down, went forward. Even though you didn't get any yards, you didn't have any negative yards. And that's one thing that Coach Callahan talked about was he doesn't want negative plays. And that has to do with the offensive line knocking people off the ball.
2nd and 11 from the 46 now. Nate Sudfeld under center. The pitch right side to Marshall, looking for a lane and won't get one. Knocked out of bounds at the 46. Bit of good news, as good as you can get on Matt Jones, and it's a left shoulder sprain. The AC joint there. He went down early in the game. So a left AC sprain.
You know, when you look behind Matt Jones, the Redskins need at least one running back. Is it going to be Keith Marshall? Is it going to be Robert Kelly? I mean, there he is taking care of that team. I'm positive we will not see him next week. And for sure we won't see him against Tampa. So he's going to have about 3 weeks to heal and get himself ready for the opener against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
3rd and 12 for Sudfeld out of the gun. Marshall on the give. Left side, he just does have some room. Gets to the 46-yard line. Kevin Short on the tackle, but they will give it away.
Good burst, though. You can see him get up the field and then try and outrun. He's still going to fight the instincts as a young guy. Instead of planting that foot, working up, trying to outrun this defense, you're not going to be able to do it. But good overall runs in his performance here so far in the second half.
Jalen Marshall back for the Jets. Tressway on the punt for the Redskins.
How far will he kick this one? Average 54. Had 180 yards if you include the 15 that were back.
Nearly blocked. A flag on the play as Marshall moves to his left from the 10, dancing around. And he'll get knocked down. Again, dare I say, there is a flag on the play. 36-yard punt. Lyndon Trail on the tackle. We talked about it earlier, Joe. Making a name for yourself on special teams and creating some depth at a particular position.
And you know, when you're a linebacker, a defensive lineman, that's the thing you want to do. You want to be able to get downfield, create a area where you can make the play, and that's what he did.
Jay Gruden, nonplussed by some of the calls tonight.
The penalty was against the Redskins, and they're just. Todd Bowles is deciding what he wants to do. Does he want to look at another punt return?
There's Todd Bowles, former Redskin DB.
Okay, make your decision. Is it your final? This is our final offer, Todd? You just got the final offer. Okay, it's deal or no deal.
Holding, number 34 of the kicking team. That 10-yard penalty will assess from the end of the kick. First down.
Okay.
Mac Brown called on the hold. Not the first time you want to have your name called on the night. It'll be Jets ball. Well, the summer's going fast, so are the cars, trucks, and SUVs during the Ford Freedom Sales event. Check out the best offers of the summer at your local Ford dealers or go to MidAtlanticFordDealers.com. As we send it down to Clinton Portis and please wish the new 28-year-old a happy birthday in Kirk Cousins for us.
As you guys said, and Kirk, how good does it feel to see this offense come out and move the ball?
Yeah, we feel very good about the personnel, about the system. We feel like we have some continuity, and Sean McVay is doing a great job getting guys in a position to be successful.
You shouldered a lot of the load last year having to throw the ball. How good did it look to establish a running game tonight?
Yeah, if we can run the ball well, it's going to take a lot of pressure off of our pass protection, off of our need to have to move the ball through the air and have 35, 40-plus pass attempts a game. So would love to see us be able to run productively and keep the pass attempts, in the 20s and just be able to be very steady and efficient. I think that's when our offense can operate at its best.
Colt came out and kept the passing game going, 13 of 16, spreading the ball around a lot like yourself. How exciting was that?
Yeah, it was great to see our offense just not miss a beat, just go right into it. And it was nice to see our guys go up against the Jets ones. I mean, they were going against some really good players on the Jets defense and just did a great job moving the football. I think a couple penalties made it look worse than it was, but I think we really did a good job moving the ball up and down the field and just being efficient in and out.
You guys added weapons this year. On the defensive side of the ball, you brought in Josh Norman. How has it been going up against him in practice?
It's been really good to have that much competition in practice. I think it's elevated the play of a guy like Deshaun Jackson in practice because he doesn't want to get shown up, and he wants to show his best against the best in the league. So all the way around, it's made for a very competitive training camp, and it's bringing out the best in everybody.
There you guys have it. Happy birthday, Kurt. Back up to you, Chick.
Thank you, CP. Stephen Paya and Willie Jefferson on the sack with Bryce Petty there.
KC and CP hanging out on the sideline.
The Skins' first sack by Stephen Paya there.
Here comes the pressure. Get an idea how agile Willie Jefferson is, number 46. A little bit of a Ryan Kerrigan leap around the outside move.
6'5", 246 is Jefferson in his second season out of Stephen F. Austin. You think back to Kirk Cousins, first quarterback to start all 16 games since Jason Campbell back in 2009. Great to have available for 16 games. Petty up the middle, knocked away, almost picked off twice. I'll give you that.
Twice.
Gino Matthias Smith with the tip. Lloyd Carrington almost with the pick.
The defense, they're really getting out. Look at that. Oh, that one almost wasn't, but that one should have been.
Absolutely.
There we go. So it's a 1.5.
Carrington will kick himself. The rookie out of Arizona State. Now TJ Thorpe, rookie out of Virginia. Be back for the punt return. Punt on its way. Thorpe being driven back from his own 24, straight up the gut. Knocked down at the 32-yard line. Antoine Smith on the tackle for the Jets. 55-yard punt from Lachlan Edwards. It'll be Redskin ball when we come back. Nate Sudfeld and company trying to get some points on the board. Redskins fans plan ahead for the home opener on Monday night, September 12th, as the Redskins host the Steelers at 7 p.m. at FedEx Field. A reminder to get there early. Opening day, national stage, and it's a 7 o'clock kickoff, so get there early, people. Also, save the date, Saturday, September 10th, 3 to 6 p.m. It's the Redskins rally kickoff party at 1 Loudon in Ashburn, Virginia. More details to be released next week.
And before we get to this next play, I just want to say Zema Williams, who affectionately was known as Chief to all the Redskins fans, passed away just recently, and he meant so much to all of us, and I know how important he was to me and all the guys that put on this uniform, and we'll miss him, and we appreciate so much his family and what he did.
Absolutely. Chief Z, an icon as far as fans go with this Burgundy and Gold Nation. You remember him way back in the day in all those Redskin Cowboys games.
There's Chief Z. I'll never forget, he played the Philadelphia Eagles, and I saw him after that game, and he had his arm in a sling. I said, Chief, what happened? He said, Santa Claus beat me up in Philadelphia.
Broke his arm?
Broke his arm.
Yeah. Well, you know, they're Eagles fans.
Didn't miss a game, though. In true Redskin fashion, didn't miss a game.
Eagles fans can be difficult. 2nd and 11, Sudfeld out of the gun, and there's a mishandled snap. The question is, did Sudfeld get back on it? Looks like Marshall looks up ahead.
We saw the same thing with Colt McCoy, with Matt Jones. It's the quarterback's responsibility to get the ball in. They just sort of hit his elbow, and then fortunately they covered the ball. Ball handling is something, I mean, it's an art. I mean, it's something you really, really focus and concentrate on. And as a quarterback, you have to be responsible for the ball getting into the running back's belly.
Marshall and Logan Paulson in the backfield with Nate Sudfeld. Straight drop. Looking upfield. Almost picked off. Pass underthrown. Daryl Morris doesn't quite make the catch. Valdez Showers was the intended target. So the Redskins will give it over on downs.
A little bit of a late throw. It's a little bit late. Sowers comes out of the route, but the corner hangs back inside and should have been intercepted. But fortunately it wasn't.
So Tressway will punt. Jalen Marshall back for the Jets. 14-2 here with 7:10 to go in the third quarter play from FedEx Field.
I'm going to guess this one at 54.
Theismann says 54. Marshall to his left.
Oh, he kicked it out of bounds.
Oh, wait a. It's like a. You know what you did?
Oh,
you
I jigsed him. I did.
You're like a guy. This
Free
guy
throws.
has never missed a punt inside 5 feet ever, and then boom.
Or he's made 16 free throws in a row.
Flag on the play. They will converse. Walt Coleman and company. I think he's saying, I think Theismann jinxed him.
Yeah, and then he kicked it out of bounds. Pointing out of bounds.
And you know Tressway will focus on that one punt for the next 2 days.
Yeah, Walt feeling like he's got a lot of time to walk around a little bit before he makes a decision.
Walt?
We have an illegal substitution. We have 2 number 22 players participating. That's a 5-yard penalty added on the end of the play. First down.
So 2:22. You'll get that in preseason football. 32-yard punt by Tressway. Be right back here. 14-2. Redskins with 7:01 to go here in this third quarter play. Check out our Twitter ticker presented by Print and Play from the Virginia Lottery. Proud sponsor of the Washington Redskins. Tweet at Redskins with hashtag HTTR or hashtag Redskins Talk to join the conversation. I see you, McCoy. Sure you do. Redskins looking like we got some real depth on our roster.
That is an astute observation. I agree with him.
I have a better tweet here. This is coming from Emma. It says, really feel like you're missing an opportunity here. Remember Chicken Fryer, which was Irving Fryer back in the day? I used to do a little bit with him. What about you guys who are called Chicken Thighs? See? I told you.
I like that.
Well done, Emma. Well
I like that, Emma.
Bryce Petty going up top. Just out of the reach of Kyle Williams. Lloyd Carrington on the.
You just can't. That was really good, Chick.
It was, wasn't it?
But on the other side of it, this pass was really bad. I mean, it's just you just can't miss wide open people in the middle of a football field. You got you got safety splitting out. You have the middle of the football field. You've got a guy with speed running down the middle, and you lead him too far to the inside. I mean, it's not like it's a new experience for Bryce. It was a bad throw.
There's Petty in his second season out of Baylor. Tommy Bohannon in the backfield, the fullback. Petty will drop and throw. And there is Zach Sudfeld, the brother of Nate Sudfeld, in his 4th year out of Nevada. You know, Matthias Smith on the coverage.
Boy, he's big. I was talking to him before the game about his brother. I said, how tall are you? I said, how much taller are you than your brother? Something about an inch. I said, no way. It looks like he's 4 inches taller.
Yeah, 6'7", 260. In his 4th year. Played with the Patriots for a while.
They have another brother who's 5'10", who was a better athlete.
Yeah,
according to Nate.
Shorties are always better athletes. Jets, trips left. That's a personal opinion of mine.
I agree.
Petty on the completion. A little dance and dipsy-do. Jalen Marshall on the catch. Gets a first down for the Jets.
Marcel Cooper had a shot at him. And he got away. We saw
10.
Zuki Ianacho make the tackle in one-on-one. This one didn't turn out that way for Cooper.
Carlos Fields will clean it up. The third quarter 1st and 10 line is brought to you by your local Honda dealer. Hurry into Honda's summer clearance event at your local Honda dealer. Why settle for less than a Honda?
It's the first third down conversion for the Jets tonight.
That took a while.
That did take quite a while.
1st and 10 from the 45 of the Redskins. Petty with some pressure. Gets away. Up top. Finds big number 82, Brandon Bostic.
Now that was a nice job. Talked about the throw down the middle not being that good, but this was a real nice job of keeping your composure, getting outside. You just escaped the tackle, Willie Jefferson, and makes the throw for the completion.
Stephen Paya had a shot at him as well. You see Paya back in action. Gain of 13 now. 1st and 10. And the Redskins 31. Petty. Across the middle, and that ball not quite handled by Teron Peak.
That was a good throw.
Kendall Fuller on the coverage.
Kendall Fuller getting a full workout tonight. A lot of different opportunities, made some good plays. This is a slant that just goes right through his hands. Sets, throws, puts it out in front, winds up on the ground.
Fuller only played 3 games last year at Virginia Tech, had a knee injury. Said it last week as well. D'Angelo Hall says if this guy can play, come back from that knee, he'll end up being like a first rounder, the talent he has.
Well, not only that, he can play inside, which means that Bashard Breeland can stay outside, and it's going to make the secondary a lot stronger.
Petty across the middle, and Jalen Marshall on the catch down to the 16-yard line. Terrence Garvin on the tackle. So the Jets basically foregoing the run.
I was just going to say, they're really not interested in seeing what the running game looks like. You're giving Bryce Petty an opportunity to be able to throw the ball around, make some throws. Joe Barry instructing the young defense.
And Petty with completions of 10, 13, and 15 yards. And the Jets now in the red zone for the first time this evening. 1st and 10 from the Skins 16. Petty out of the shotgun. Trips left. He'll throw the fade, and Kyle Williams had no idea where that ball was. Kendall Fuller on the coverage. Redskins salute, the official military appreciation club of the Washington Redskins. Free to join for all active duty veterans and their families. Redskins salute offers exclusive year-round events for the military community. Join now at www.redskinssalute.com.
Kirk Olivadotti doing the signaling in with the headset on and the hat.
Petty out of the shotgun, and he'll just drop that one. 9th play of this possession. The previous 8 were all passes.
That was the quarterback version of the shake and bake. You fake the pass, you look like you want to throw, then you bring it back down. Unfortunately, the back either got there too quickly or you were too late with trying to make the handoff.
Big fullback Tommy Bohannon with his big mitts got in the way. 3rd and 13 from the Skins 19. Bobby Anderson near side. Jalen Marshall far. Catch with a 3 set on the left side. Petty, straight drop, almost gets knocked around, and nice throw and catch, and that is Zach Sudfeld with the catch and the touchdown for the Jets. 19 yards on the throw and catch. Willie Jefferson nearly got the quarterback.
You split the safeties. You see in the depth in the middle of the football field. Zach goes up and makes a play.
Lloyd Carrington tried to deliver a bone-chilling hit, but
it's a good throw. Over the linebacker, over the hands of the defensive back.
As I said, he's a big fella. Big target. You love that as a quarterback.
Oh, you should. And then the range that they have. You know, plus he ran a good route. That's the other thing. It wasn't just like run in the middle and go jump.
Nick Folk on for the extra point. It is up. It is good. We've got a 14-9 ball game here in the 3rd quarter of play. Redskins up next with the ball. Washington Redskins are making RVA its summer home. Visit richmondgov.com to learn more about Virginia's capital city. Beautiful day there for Fan Appreciation Day.
And it was hot. I mean, but the cheerleaders were there, the band was there, guys signing autographs, giving hugs.
That's a big hug.
A lot of our players, normally they'll ask like, you know, half a dozen guys to walk around. We had anywhere between 12 and 15 guys every practice taking the time to go out and see everybody. Josh Norman being one of those that did it every day.
The work ethic of Josh Norman after practice was something to behold. 45 to 60 minutes after practice, just working on the craft.
It's the only way you get better. I mean, young guys have to understand those are the things that make you really good in this game, and that's part of the learning process.
Ross Martin now on to kick for the Jets, the rookie out of Duke. TJ Thorpe and Valdez Showers back. Showers at the back end of his end zone. Touchback, Redskins ball from their own 25-yard line. And Sudfeld, after watching his brother catch a touchdown pass, now will try to direct this Redskins offense.
I felt like in the first 2 series, Sean McVay has decided he wanted to run the football. Didn't really give Nate an opportunity to throw the ball on first or second down. Wouldn't be surprised at all if he puts the ball in the air on this play.
And we've seen Nate last week move when they didn't ask him to do much in practice. They certainly saw that he could be mobile during a game. 1st and 10 for the 25. Sudfeld, little play action, goes up top looking and can't quite make the grab is Kendall Thompson, a rookie out of Utah. Morris on the cover.
Kendall Thompson didn't quite get his head around in time. Make the plant. Got to get your head around quicker. And, of course, the ball should be a little bit lower. Nate's a little more inaccurate this evening than he was against Atlanta.
There's Stewart now on for the Redskins. Wide out. Bottom of your screen. Sudfeld out of the gun. That's a big carry. Keith Marshall. Kind of punt on the tackle.
Take a look at the first 8 games for the Redskins this year. It's not an easy run. Monday night against the Steelers. Of course, the Cowboys, Giants. Get the Browns with, it looks like Robert Griffin III is going to be their quarterback. At Baltimore. Another division game with the Eagles. At the Lions, at the Bengals, and then get a bye. We'll be in London for that game against the Cincinnati Bengals.
You're going?
In October. I am. I'll be in London.
Keith Marshall on the give. Looking for some yards. Not finding much.
I think he made it just enough. I'm going to make my first call of the preseason. Got the first down.
That was an easy call, Joe. Deion Simon on the tackle.
I didn't say it would be complex.
Okay.
I just said I'll make my first call. So I got that one checked.
Go ahead.
The Chickster.
Chicken thighs.
I like that. That's
thighs.
Emma did a really good job
really
with that
good.
one.
2 tight end set. Logan Paulson, Marcel Jensen, who caught a touchdown pass last week in the ballgame. Sudfeld out of the gun. Straight drop. Finds the big fella, Logan Paulson.
Logan Paulson just has terrific hands. And I know we talked about different positions on this football team where there's a lot of depth, tough position to make. Logan Paulson is one of the guys. He's an excellent blocker. He's not going to run past a lot of people, but he just has a way of catching the football. You get it to him where he gets his hands on it, not down around his ankles, not over his head. He's going to make a play for you.
Missed all of last year with a toe injury, suffered in last year's training camp.
We're deep at the tight end position.
Joe Carriage in at fullback. Keith Marshall will get the give. And a flag on the play. Marshall gets Deion Simon on the tackle. Marshall gets to the 40-yard line, but we'll see what this
holding, number 74, offense. 10-yard penalty.
Fraction is.
Still second down.
All right, Quanjo for the hold. The second-year man out of Alabama via DeMatha High School in Hyattsville, Maryland.
Down about 7 pounds, which is a little bit like a deck chair coming off a 325-pounder.
I was going to say, how can you tell?
You can.
Can you?
Honest, I don't know why. It just, he looked, I told him, I said, you look thinner. He's down about 7 pounds. I didn't know how many pounds you were down. You just look thinner.
8 flags now on the Redskins so far in this ball game. Last week they had 14.
Evenly divided between the offense and the defense.
Des Stewart and TJ Thorpe at the bottom of your screen. Sudfeld will go left to Keith Marshall. And Marshall will find a plethora of Jets, including Deion Simon, right in his grill.
That one didn't have a whole lot of chance at anything. You couldn't get the lineman out in front. the reaction by the defense was so quick, there was nobody there to be able to block him.
The 3rd and 20. What do you call up here? The ball on your own 26.
What you do is you anticipate that they're going to drop 7. So what you'll do is you're not going to try and get the ball down the field 20 yards simply because you're not going to have enough time. So dump it off underneath and let somebody make a play.
We will have to wait as the end of the 3rd quarter has come here in Landover, Maryland, with the Redskins up 14-9 over the New York Jets. And when we come back, the Redskins facing a 3rd and 20 from their own 26. This is Redskins football on the Redskins Broadcast Network. Redskins with 1 quarter to play, up 14-9 over the New York Jets. Time for our Geico what to watch for in the next 15 minutes. Joe, what do you got?
Well, I think first of all, I want to see Nate Sudfeld be a little more comfortable in the pocket and complete passes. That was one thing I was interested in looking at. The other thing I want to see is I want to see how the offensive line protects him. Again, we're looking at depth in the offensive line. You wind up with 9 offensive linemen. So the thing is how do you find those other 4 that fill in?
Jobs on the line here in the 2nd preseason game. Sudfeld right side. Intended for Des Stewart. Coverage by Ronald Martin. That'll be 4th down, Redskins.
Nate standing tall, good protection, step. Just let it get away from him up in the air. He's been high a little bit all night, which means he's not having a chance to step into the throws a little bit. He's releasing it on an upward trajectory.
Kyle Williams back to receive. Tressway punt. This one on its way, and it is a boomer. Williams driven back down to his own 10-yard line. That will go into the end zone. Touchback. It'll be Jets ball at the 25. That is a 74-yard punt.
That made up for the 54-yard I said he was going to say before.
It all evens out.
Sua Cravens, of course, played at Southern California University, played different positions there, played linebacker, played strong safety, just has tremendous ability to understand and where the football is. When you talk to the defensive coaches, the one thing they talk about with him is he's very instinctive.
And he can play it all. Baptism under fire here early on. They love to see him. It's good to see him out and playing. He's nicked up at the first part of training camp. He has recovered nicely.
222 pounds playing linebacker. Sounds like Jack Lambert. A great Pittsburgh school.
Petty going up top. He's got Robbie Anderson, and Anderson makes the grab. That's a nice catch. Kendall Fuller on the coverage, but Anderson with the grab. And the Jets are in business now, deep inside the Redskins territory at the 30-yard line.
Tough to beat a perfectly thrown ball.
50 yards on the connection. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 30.
Bryce Petty just settling in. The latter part of the last drive, he was very accurate. And it appears that the Jets have basically said, we're going to go 7-to-1 pass to run ratio.
Anderson 5 catches, 80 yards on the night so far. Petty looking up top again. And nearly completes it, but then waylaid. Kendall Fuller trying to lay out Jalen Marshall.
Everett comes in and just, hit him cleanly. There's one of those bang-bang plays where you concern yourself and say, wow, if he hits him up high, you're definitely going to get a penalty out of it, possibly an injury. But it was a good effort to try and make the catch and a good shot by DeShazer.
In his 2nd season out of Texas A&M. He's been waived and signed by this team a couple of times. Petty will go left side to Julian Hauser. And Hauser, big fella, at 6'3", 255. The fullback out of Division II Clarion. Listen to this. Wow. Yep. Terrence Garvin On the receiving end of that, lower of the shoulder.
We've seen him making some plays through the night.
3rd and 2 from the 22. Hauser remains in the backfield. Petty out of the gun. Quick shot left side, and nice defensive effort by Kendall Fuller there. Jerron Peak had the ball, but Fuller quickly to his man.
We've seen some defensive backs make really nice plays in the open field. Fuller fights off the block, comes in, makes the tackle, and stops him from getting the first down. Been one occasion where a receiver's gotten away, but other than that, the other 3, our guys have brought them down.
You love the shore tackle. You get that. That saves an awful lot of yards after catch.
We saw a problem with it a little bit in the first game, and I talked about it. It's one of those things in the National Football League that they don't get a chance to practice much, but the Redskins have done a very good job tonight doing it.
Ross Martin on for a 40-yard attempt. It is up. It is good. The rookie out of Duke gives the Jets 3 more, and it's a 14-12 game for the Redskins with 12:20 to go here in this 4th quarter of play. So once again, winding down a game in the balance. Can't wait here at FedEx Field. Fans get direct access to VIP Redskins travel packages with Prime Sport, the official fan travel partner of the Washington Redskins. Official Prime Sport fan travel packages include game tickets, hotel, official souvenirs, and much more. Visit primesport.com today. Ross Martin will kick for the Jets after just nailing a 40-yard field goal to bring the Jets within 2. Kenbrell,
I don't believe we have had a return of a kick tonight. The ball has been placed on the 25 the entire evening.
And our stat man, Marty Aronoff, gives you the thumbs up. You are correct, sir.
Marty's the best.
He is. He is. He works too much, though.
Somebody better get on it. Thank you.
DJ Thorpe. Touchback for the Redskins ball from the 25-yard line.
That was a college moment. Oh, I better go get on the ball.
Back here at FedEx Field, the Women of Washington Redskins, the team's official women's platform, is your all-access pass to year-round events, exclusive content, and more. Join now for free at wowredskins.com.
Women of Washington, wow.
Absolutely. I think now that Usain Bolt is done with his career, you think?
No.
Okay, never mind.
I'll answer the question. No. What's the rest of it?
I said, you got me. You got me. I tried to make something up after that.
What was it?
Yeah, that was it. What a team looked for him, but Jerry Jones might look for him.
Yeah.
Keith Marshall now left side. Not much there. Let's check in with CP Clinton Portis. What do you got?
I'm standing here with 2 guys that's going to play a major role, Kerrigan, D. Hall. Kerrigan didn't play much, but how did it feel to watch your defense go out there and make the stops they needed to make?
Yeah, they did a great job tonight. Got off the field on 3rd downs, put our offense in some good field positions to get some points early, and that's all you can ask for.
Speaking of stops being made, you came up with a key play. How does it feel to still be at this age? You're so close to breaking Darryl Green's games played records with the Washington Redskins, but how does it feel to still be making plays, dude?
Oh, man, it feels good. I got a long way to go to catch D. Green, but, I mean, it feels great. You know, it feels great to go out there and still be able to make some plays, help our team in football games, man. This has been a total team effort from day one. And so, you know, we're just trying to build on some things and, you know, go into the season healthy and ready to roll.
You guys will have to depend heavily on each other. You guys took a major hit losing Junior Gillette on your D-line, but you added Brown in the secondary. How would you guys complement each other?
Yeah, you know, our secondary has been doing a great job all camp, so it's up to us up front to make their job easier and provide some pressure on the Q.
If these guys get some pressure on the QB, how many picks do you think you guys can get in the secondary this year?
That's a tough question, man. I mean, we can get as many as we get our hands on. I mean, I know it's a politically correct answer, but we just been working hand in hand, man. We've been holding up on the back end, and when we give up, a play or two, the guys up front seem to always be around the quarterback. So, anytime we can work hand in hand with the rush and the secondary, we got a chance to be great.
Earlier, you spoke about this being maybe the best secondary you ever played in. How does the secondary add up to that calling?
I mean, we gotta go out there and do it. We can sit here and say on paper we look great and this and that. But at the end of the day, man, we got to go out on this field and show it. And I think we've done a good job all season in mini camps and training camps of, putting ourselves in position to, to be a force to be reckoned with.
All right, appreciate it, guys. Back up to you all.
Thank you, CP. Talk with D. Hall and Sharknado 3 fame Ryan Kerrigan. We're right back here on the Redskins Broadcast Network. 14-12, Redskins with a 2-point lead with 11:19 to go here in this fourth quarter of play. Some tweets to read for you. Pretty cool that there's 2 Sudfelds in the game. Zach is the older brother. Yes, we do know. By the way, Nate is 2 for 7 for 0 yards here.
Been a little bit high in this particular game.
And Zach has 2 catches for 21 yards and a touchdown.
Yep.
So if the Sudfelds are watching right now, they're going to give some presents to Zach during the holidays, and Nate's going to get bupkis.
You're hard on him.
Only for now.
Kirk Cousins gets a day off on his birthday. Who gets a day off on your birthday?
I was born on Halloween. I still don't get a day off.
Never.
Petty left side, and that looks to be Robbie Thompson again.
They talked, we talked to earlier, Chick, about Bryce Petty in competition with Christian Hackenberg. Christian has not had an opportunity to play in the first preseason game against Jacksonville, nor will it looks like he play in this one much. But he's their #1 pick. I mean, their #2 pick. If you took somebody in the second round, you had to like something he did. And I think this is setting up a move with Geno Smith, to be honest with you, going forward.
Spoken like a true quarterback there who knows the league. Petty out of the shotgun. 1 pump, and he's got Thompson.
There comes the
Marshall.
flag.
Jeremy Harris called for the PI.
Ref couldn't get that one out of his pocket. That one was stuck in the pocket, so it came in a little late. But as soon as the grab happened, you could see him reach for it. I don't know if you can actually say that there's a good penalty, but that was a penalty that prevented a much bigger play. So if you're gonna get beat, let the guy get the ball.
We have fouls on both teams. Illegal downfield on a pass, number 65 of the offense. Pass interference, number 38 defense. Those penalties all set. Repeat, second down.
Well, this play was set up as a quick screen to the left. That's why you had offensive linemen downfield. But he doesn't look. He just takes off running. There's the bump, illegal chuck downfield.
Jeremy Harris gets called. Mike Leidke for the Jets as well. The fourth quarter 1st and 10 line is brought to you by Jeep, the official vehicles of summer, celebrating 75 summers of living for life forever. Julian Hauser on the carry. Matthias Smith with the stop. With a little over 10 minutes to go here in this football game, preseason game number 2 from FedEx Field.
Some of the things that Coach Bowles talked about regarding his Jets is he wasn't happy with the amount of tackles they missed in the first game. The explosive plays gave up, and then defensively couldn't get people off the field on 3rd down. And I'm not sure if they've solved the 3rd down problem on either side of the ball as far as the Jets go at this stage of the preseason.
Hauser and Robbie Thompson left for the Jets and knocked away. Nice play on number 52, Terrence Garvin. May have been tipped to the line as well.
And we talk about Willie Jefferson, Terrence Garvin. Watch him come from the right part of your screen and just flash. Plant your foot in the ground, get that big arm out there, and knock it away.
Looking for Robbie Anderson, and Garvin says no.
Another guy, 6'3", 235. They're long. I mean, that is Scott McCloughan, our general manager, goes after guys with special teams backgrounds, and they're long defensively. By that I mean they're either tall or their arm spread or the wings or the wing spread is long. They bring it.
And the Redskins bring in the blitz. Petty can't quite make it. They throw to Julian Hauser. High and outside.
Bryce has been hot and cold tonight. He's made some really nice throws, and then he's missed some wide open receivers. And I mean, you want to get it in the proximity of where a guy's going to plant. You aim for shoulders. He's gotten away from the body of the receiver on some of his throws.
Jets will go trips right. Petty 10 for 18 for 129. The pressure put on. Can't quite get it away. That is Terrence Garvin again getting his name called in the pressure and the blitz.
We talked about the linebacker position in the open, Chick. A lot of people, a lot of guys there competing for a job. Here comes the blitz, and here comes the speed and the length of Garvin. All 6'3" of them getting to Bryce Petty.
C.J. Thorpe back for the Redskins. Lachlan Edwards will punt for the Jets. Thorpe set up at his own 10-yard line. And he will call for a fair catch at the 10. So the Redskins will take over on a 43-yard punt by Lachlan Edwards. Nate Sudfeld and company trying to get something going here in this fourth quarter play. All right, back here at FedEx Field, the game summary. And Colt McCoy, after a little rough start, came back 13 of 16, 159, 2 touchdowns to Rashad Ross. And that rushing game finally showed up. Last week, not so much. This week, Matt Jones, before he went out with a left AC shoulder sprain, 31 yards. Keith Marshall with 24 so far on the night. And that Redskins defense starting to make an impact. 1 sack, a forced fumble, 7 passes defended. Of course, Will Blackman with the INT as well. Pretty good showing from that defense, and it came from several different areas.
It has. A lot of defensive line, linebackers, secondary. Everybody's done a nice job in different spots tonight.
So from their 10-yard line, Zach Sudfeld will...
Had to be a penalty.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Had to be a penalty.
Out of a timeout, that has got to be one of the more frustrating.
Jacoby Cofield, number 69.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
The rookie out of Duke. 6'4", 315, and he moved that 315 in an unfortunate pattern if you're the Washington Redskins. It's 9 penalties, 60 yards for the Redskins so far. So from their 5 now. 1st and 15. Joe Carriage, the fullback. And it's Keith Marshall on the right side.
Week 3 opponent, the New York Giants. Let's take a look at what they've done with a new coach. I'm not going to do there. Taking over offensive coordinator before, 6-10. Their secondary really was suspect a year ago. Odell Beckham Jr., 96 receptions. The only way you can describe him is he's a beast. I mean, he really is. They added, as you can see, they wanted to upgrade the defensive side of the ball. Keenan Robinson, who we know very well, is there now.
2nd and 13 from the 7. Sudfeld with a fake, and Marshall once again met by a plethora of Jets. Terrell Barney will be given the tackle.
It's interesting when you look at the way Sean McVay is calling plays for the Washington Redskins as the offensive coordinator. A lot of running plays. A lot of specific plays to take a look at the guys blocking up front, to see if Marshall can find a hole, see if he can get clean runs. What I mean by clean is not having a bunch of bodies in the middle. Those are all the things that he's done. And then on the other side, Chan Gailey has decided he wants to throw the football quite a bit more in the second half.
3rd and 13. Sudfeld laid out. He had Bailey on the tackle. The Showers. Some Harris with the pressure on Nate Sudfeld.
The Jets are going to get the ball back. They've run the ball 4 times and thrown the ball 20 times in the second half. And there's the pressure of it amounts to a semi-quick screen.
Well, the Showers, the rookie out of Florida, with the catch. Kyle Williams back now for the Jets, sending his own 37-yard.
I get excited to watch Tress Way punt. I've never been excited about a punter because he's so unbelievable.
Another good one. Williams at his own 29. That's a nice tackle by Shazer Everett.
And the only concern, really, when I talk to Ben Kawika, the special teams coach, is he kicks it so far, he outkicks coverage. It's a nice problem to have, but he's unbelievable. I mean, it's a lefty. As far as punting goes, and it's just pure power. You look at his thighs, his legs, and then he just jogs on down because it takes forever for the ball to come down, and it's so far down the field.
Double nickel. punt, 55-yard punt by Tressway.
Our kickers have done an excellent job. I mean, they're really talented in where they want to place the ball, how they want to place the ball.
Petty left side. That's a completion to Teron Peak. How about Ben Kotwika in practice? Mic'd up. Take a listen.
As we'll start with PAT, moving around a little bit, kick like 6 to 8 of them. I'll rotate some guys in. The last one will be the long field goal. Make sure we anchor in. Good spike step, outside arm comes up. Here we go, let's roll it. Make sure that we're onside. Always checking. Just take a good couple steps. I don't want you to make this. I don't want you to kick your leg out either. There we go, good. Cover! Cover! Cover!
Only if you're going to catch it off the net.
Good, give me kickoff return.
I don't want you to make this. I want to cover it. It's a 63-yard field goal, and it landed halfway up the net.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, you sort of understand what the coach wants, but then the instinct takes over. It's almost like taking a half a swing in golf. I mean, when you're committed, you're committed.
I was there that day, and I know that when he said miss it, there was a look between Dustin and Tressway, the holder, and it was like, just go ahead, let it go. First and 10 from the 44. Between Hauser, the fullback, split way left. Petty goes right side. Throw and catch to Jeremy Ross. First down, Lloyd Carrington on the coverage.
This is if you're a quarterback, if I'm Bryce Petty, I'm like living the dream right now. With Coach Gailey calling all these passes in the second half of the preseason game, I'm just absolutely loving life. I mean,
why?
Because that's what you do as a quarterback. You want to throw the football. You just want to throw it, and in a game like this, it's not like they're down by 20, but this is the way they have chosen to decide to attack the Redskin defense, which has been great for our guys because the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to spread it out. The Cowboys are, the Giants are.
They're down by 2. Petty once again. He'll go left side. It's a wide open Zach Sudfeld, who fumbles the ball. Picked up by Jeremy Harris. And eventually in the hands of Terrence Garvin. So Sudfeld had some room. In fact, he had a lot of room. A nice defensive play, and once again, the Redskins defense get the turnover.
Terrence Garvin. We've called his name a lot here in the fourth quarter, making plays. Good hit, big hit. Got to stay on the ball, gets away. First of all, you have to get the ball. This is a great lesson for young guys. If you're carrying the ball in any way, you're running back, tight end, wide receiver, you get the ball away from where pressure is coming in the inside. The ball should have been in his left hand, away from where the hit is coming, and then it probably wouldn't have gotten knocked out. Simple, basic, fundamental football mistake.
The Shazer Everett causes the fumble. Terrence Garvin comes up with the third turnover of the night for New York Jets. They had a bad time for them. The Redskins take over. First and 10 from their own 7. That's Mac Brown in the backfield now for the Burgundy and Gold. He gets the carry up to the 10-yard line. Gain of 3.
We saw Mac Brown last week against the Falcons do some good running, good hard running. Like I said, the impressive part is he finishes going forward. You don't see him get knocked backward very often.
7 carries, 28 yards last week, and 3 catches for 12 yards as well.
This would be great to be able to run the clock out. Each team has 3 timeouts.
TJ Thorpe and Jarvis Turner, your wideouts. Sudfeld play action, looking for Thorpe. He'll go right side. Can't quite reach Jarvis Turner. A little wrinkle.
Nate does a good job. Remember, he's a kid that came out of Indiana that never worked under center. So now he's taking a snap. He's turning his back to the defense on the play action, getting around and trying to find a receiver, being very poised in the pocket. His accuracy's been a little bit off tonight, but other than that, he continues to grow. There's a lot of growth. And Sean McVay has done a wonderful job keeping him disciplined in the pocket.
That's Stewart wide right. The Redskins just 2 first downs with Nate Sudfeld. And once again, we've got illegal motion and Jacoby Cofield.
Offense. 5-yard penalty.
But the left side of the line actually moved.
Austin Ritter at center now, and that looked like maybe the center didn't quite snap the ball to the quarterback on the proper count. Too many people moving.
Too many people. It's not good. I'm sure Bill Callahan, when he gets in the meeting, will have a few choice words. 10th penalty of the night on the burgundy and gold. So Sudfeld on a 3rd and 12 from the 5. Goes left side and overthrows T.J. Thorpe. Carson Keaton on the coverage. It over a punt. Once again, we get a chance to see Joe's favorite guy.
Yeah.
Tress
going to kick again.
You want to make a call on the yardage?
Yeah, why not? I mean, I jinxed him once, then he kicked one 65 yards. I'd say this is going to be closer. Well, he's backed up a little bit, but no, he's got room. He's got room to get the full effect of it. I'll say 53, final answer.
6 possessions, 6 punts for the Redskins.
Every time I do it, it comes up short.
At the 44-yard line. Tressway on the punt.
I'm sorry.
Jefferson on the tackle.
I'm sorry, Tress.
That's a 40-yard punt. You're absolutely destroying him right now.
I'm going down with them.
I think we'll just have to discontinue this. I mean,
I'm done.
You 6 punts, you're going to get tired, by the way.
No, but then after he punted one like 44 yards, then he kicks a 65.
Jets take over from the 43-yard line of the Redskins.
You'd have to say overall, with 4 minutes to go in this game, the Redskins defense at every level, first team, second team, guys being punched in, have done an excellent job all night. Probably jinxed them too.
Petty, straight drop, looking up top. And that is a fantastic catch by Robbie Anderson.
What did I say?
Yeah, you are the jinx. Jeremy Harris on the coverage.
I absolutely am.
That just gives Nate Sudfeld a chance to make the comeback here. Anthony Lallier, the push, the pressure, but couldn't quite get there in time.
Well, we talked about the length of Anderson. He just goes up. That's all. Finds the ball, goes up. I say he's got nice hands, soft hands. Well, Robbie Anderson. Lean, good concentration, good focus.
That is the Jets' first lead since they're up 2-0 and a 42-yard throw and catch.
You look at these wide receivers. Brandon Marshall had 109 catches, and Eric Decker had 80 last year. The tight end position had 8. So you know the ball is going outside. Well, Kembrell Thompson is certainly a guy, and Robbie Anderson doing a good job.
That's Ross Martin, the rookie, who misses the extra point off the right upright and backwards. So no good, and it's an 18-14 Jets lead. Let's go down to the sidelines and Clinton Portis.
From Maryland to San Francisco to Denver Super Bowl champs, back home. How does it feel to be here?
Oh, it feels great, man. Being back here and, you know, my hometown, friends and family, man, it's amazing.
You had a great career doing things out in San Francisco. You got a Super Bowl ring. Now, how is it to take a back seat to Jordan Reed?
Jordan, he's just a great guy to work with, man. He's not only is a tremendous player, he's a great person, and I enjoy it. I enjoy watching him. There's some things that I'm learning from him that I can implement in my game. So it's been a treat, man.
Have you been around a more talented tight end?
No, I feel, you know what, I feel like Jordan. I went up to him in training camp and I told him, I said, Jordan, you have the ability that you have, man. You could be one of the greatest to ever play this game. I mean, if you continue to work at it, I know it's still premature for him, but if he continue to work and keep doing what he's doing, I mean, he has a bright future.
Do you see any similarities in Jordan and a young Vernon Davis?
You know what, you know, as far as him going out there and just wanting to just compete and just get after it, yes, I do. I mean, I feel like he's always on it. He's always tuned in practice, and he just wants to get out there, and he's just going, man. I love it.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Back up to you guys, Chick.
Thank you, CP. Thank you, Vernon Davis, the Duke. T.J. Thorpe on the return.
Vernon Davis didn't really have an opportunity when he got to Denver to get into the flow of their system. It's very difficult to join a team midpoint or past and try and pick up and understand the system. Here he's had a chance to be in training camps, the OTAs. Certainly presents a wonderful option opposite Jordan Reed because he has the speed and the ability to get down the field and make plays.
Jay Gruden said adds quality depth at the tight end position. Still explosive even in his older version of himself. Caught 18 balls to San Fran and 20 with Denver. That is knocked away, nearly picked off. Kevin Short had a chance at it.
The Jets have had a couple of opportunities to pick some balls off.
Bryson Keaton also had an opportunity.
Again, Nate threw that one off target a bit.
Yeah. It was busy. There was a lot of Jets there.
A little crowded in the area. But still, they had the window. I mean, the window was there.
2nd and 10 from the 16 with 3:44 to go. Skins with just 2 first downs here in this second half of play. Looking for their third. Sudfeld. Left side. Valdez showers. Nice move up the middle. Little cutback to the 30-yard line. Montez Miles with a tackle, a gain of 14. Let's take a look at the FedEx Ground play of the game. This is Matt Jones on the run. And this is before he got hurt. If you're just now joining us, what's wrong with you? Why weren't you watching all night long? But Matt Jones with a left shoulder AC joint sprain.
Hopefully it won't be too serious, and then we'll have him back against for the Steeler game.
1st and 10 from the 30. Sudfeld out of the gun. Pressure. Little foot pass to Mac Brown. There's a little ingenuity. Montez Miles with the tackle.
Kept his eyes downfield, move around in the pocket, find a way to get the ball out of your hands. More and more guys. I never threw a flip pass.
Never threw a flip pass.
I never wanted, around that many people, I never wanted to get the ball away from my body with one hand and try and flip it out, because it's very easily knocked out of your hand.
You ever throw a pass
Plus I wasn't 6 foot, 6. That was the other problem. I never threw a ball left-handed either.
Mac Brown on the draw. Up to the 35-yard line. William Stanford on the tackle for New York.
I'm going to guess if it's a 4th down, Jay's going to go, no, I'm taking it back. He'll punt it. I'll go with a more conservative route.
Taking it back. And we now have the 2-minute warning. Redskins down 4. Coming right back. Redskins preseason football has been brought to you in part by FedEx. Ship FedEx Ground at FedEx office. Bud Light, who reminds fans to make the right call and drink responsibly. And by Inova, official health system of the Washington Redskins. 3rd and 5 from the 35 now. Nate Sudfeld in the gun. Down by 4. Sudfeld. It's a wide open TJ Thorpe, makes a nice move up the middle. He's still got more. Inside the 50 down to the 47-yard line, and the Redskins are in business. Another 2 minutes to go.
Chick, this is again the part of the game that I really enjoy, is watching a young quarterback run the 2-minute drill. How much time is it going to take you to get it off?
Gain of 17 for Thorpe. Rookie out of Virginia. Sudfeld again. This time Mac Brown out of the backfield. Gets to the 42-yard line. Redskins on the move.
All right, 126 is when he was blown dead. You're moving. Too slow. Start moving, everybody. 126 already. We're down 12 seconds, 13, 14, 15. That's 16 seconds to get a playoffs. Too long.
Sudfeld across the middle behind on the throw to Marcel Jensen. Redskins with all 3 timeouts left. 1:03 to go.
Yeah, last week Nate had an opportunity to take him down, possibly to have a chance to win the ball game as well. Casey Rogers, the defensive coordinator of the Jets, he's just not going to sit back and let Sean McVay call plays to be able to eat up chunks of yards. The incompletion was a good one. I think they're in a position where they'll use it for 2 downs. If they don't convert here, they'll go for it on 4th.
Sudfeld 7 of 16 for 46. Again, the throw right side, and a little miscommunication there, and a flag called, penalty intended for Kendall Thompson, but Justin Burris called for the pass interference.
But they might have a discussion that the ball was uncatchable.
Pass interference, number 38.
That's what
defense.
Todd Bowles
Ball
is
was
signaling.
placed in the spot of the foul. First down.
Well, Coleman says, Coach, we hear you, but we've got the call.
Okay, where's the ball? The ball isn't even in the picture. I think that one might have been a little bit high. That's a rule they ought to eliminate. Just eliminate the uncatchable ball, because these guys can jump so high. They have such great range at times. What do you consider uncatchable? I would have considered that an uncatchable ball. So there should not have been a penalty. But fortunately there was for us.
11 yards on the penalty, 1st and 10 from the 31 with 58 seconds to go.
Make a note to the competition committee on that one.
I will. Kendall Thompson, the bottom of your screen. Sudfeld out of the gun. All this Showers in the slot. Straight drop. Steps up. Going to go up top. And knocked away. Intended for Des Stewart, but Justin Burris with a nice defensive play. Almost looked like he had him, but Burris makes up the speed.
Justin Burris has been picked on a little bit tonight. Rashad Ross has had his way with him a little bit, but it looks like a really good throw. He leads him up the field. Comes down just a little bit. Oh, good makeup speed by Burris, just a little bit short.
So Burris, the nice play, rolled Ronald Martin in on it as well. 2nd and 10 from the 31. 52 seconds to go. Pressure. Once again, Sudfeld with a completion to Des Stewart down to the 30-yard line.
There you go.
Take that 20.
Take your timeout.
Julian Stanford on the
First
tackle.
team timeout.
Redskins will call timeout.
30-second timeout.
Nate does a nice job stepping up in the pocket. You see the clean window. Every offensive line, I feel like tonight has done an excellent job giving the quarterbacks a pocket to be able to work at them. Colt had room to step and go places. Now Nate's had chances to be able to do it as well.
Numbers for Nate Sudfeld, 8 of 18 for 55 yards here in the second half of play. Colt McCoy played the entire first half. Kirk Cousins on his birthday took the night off.
Birthday present.
He was given the night off.
Yeah.
I didn't say took the night off. Jay Gruden said, you sit down.
There were a lot of guys that were given the night off as a birthday present to Kirk.
10th play of the drive now. 3rd and 1 from the 22. Mack Brown in the backfield. Sudfeld will throw. He'll go right side. Throw and catch is made. The Redskins get a first down. Valdez Showers on the catch. Bryson Keaton on the coverage.
Remember, you've got 2 timeouts in your pocket. You can take the time to take one here on a 1st and 10.
And they do so with 31 seconds to go. Well, Nate Sudfeld looking for a game-winning drive. As Joe said, last week had an opportunity, did not get it done. Now has a chance here.
If you're spinning forward and thinking of the plays that you want to call in sequence, Sean could take it. Sean McVay, our offensive coordinator, he could take a shot into the end zone with one of the corner routes. One of the inside guys running a corner route. He could also run something in the middle of the football field, a little stop route, because you don't want the receiver on the move simply because there's too crowded and it gets crowded down there. I don't see him running the football in this particular situation because you have the timeout, you have the ability to ground the ball because it is a 1st and 10 call.
Des Stewart
Lots of
near,
options.
Kendall Thompson far, TJ Thorpe in the slot, out of the gun. Sudfeld. 36 seconds to go. Right side, looking, one-handed grab, is it good? They say yes. Kendall Thompson with a great one-handed grab, touchdown Redskins. That was incredible.
Perfectly thrown ball. Wonderful one-handed catch. That's special.
Fans here at FedEx saw it on the big screen and they all let out Justin Burris on the coverage. About as good a coverage as you can get, but a perfect throw and an even better catch. And how about that? Kendall Thompson, a rookie out of Utah, 6'2", 192. They're going to go for two now. Thompson, who played at OU and Utah as a quarterback, so a former quarterback turned wideout.
This is to make sure that there is no tie. That's all this is. It's a no tie move by Coach Gruden.
The 2-point lead. They will go for two. Sudfeld, Mac Brown in the backfield. Kendall Thompson at the bottom of your screen. Des Stewart at the top. The fade route to Thompson and the catch. Two straight plays. Kendall Thompson has made the catch. Kevin Short on the coverage. He came up short with the defense.
I know you wanted to say that. You've been saving that one, Chick.
No.
Good call. Nice job. Once again, go up the high point, get the ball, you get the touchdown.
11 plays, 84 yards, an 18-yard touchdown pass to Kendall Thompson, and Thompson also gets the 2-point conversion.
Nate Sudfeld made some really, really nice throws in that drive. Stood in the pocket, stood tall. The difference between this drive and the one against Atlanta was the one against Atlanta, we saw him move outside the pocket. Here, he's remained in the pocket completely. I thought Sean McVay did a real nice job helping him learn how to function out of the pocket in this situation. He managed the time very well. They managed the timeouts very well. It was a very well executed drive.
Sudfeld 7 of 9 on that drive. Kendall Thompson, the benefactor of an 18-yard scoring pass. Think about this, as you said, talking preseason football. Not only are these guys trying to make this squad, but you're auditioning for 31 other teams. Kendall Thompson just made 2 really good catches that are on tape now. And if he doesn't make this squad, someone else is watching.
They always are. There's opportunities. I mean, you have injuries through the course of a year. You never know. But very happy young man.
And all the while, Josh Doxson sits on the sidelines and watches.
And waiting. You know, have to get him healthy first. There's no rush to have him get on the football field until he is 100% healthy.
He's dealing with the Achilles tendonitis. Dustin Hopkins on the kick. It's out of the end zone. And the Jets will start at their 25-yard line with 29 seconds to go.
Has there ever been a game that you have done, Chick, or watched, in either case, where there has never been, and I use the term never, a kickoff return? I can't recall one.
Yeah, but you're right.
You're right. I can't. Now, all this is going to do is you're certainly not going to see the kickoff move back at all because of an injury factor. And if the league has wanted to accomplish not necessarily allowing kickoffs, then they've done a very good job of it.
So the Jets need a touchdown. Bryce Petty at his own 25.
3 timeouts.
It's a nice throw and catch. Not staying in bounds is Jalen Marshall, but they'll call him down at the 36-yard line.
See, you have to fight to get out of bounds. I mean, 1-2 seconds is so valuable to you.
Mario Cooper on the tackle. The timeout called.
You want to try and get it to about the 35-yard line where Bryce is going to have a shot to hit the old heave-ho.
The old heave-ho. Did you draw plays up in the huddle?
No, we had 3 very specific plays that we could run in a Hail Mary situation, where you've got a group of guys headed for the end zone, but then you have another one where you're crossing the field on a deep route, where if they try and load it, at least you have a shot. At the end of the game, though, it's just up in the air, and let's see what the jump ball looks like.
Well, if I'm a betting man, I'm thinking they're going for Robbie Anderson, who's had himself quite the night for the Jets. Petty tries to avoid, but does not. The sack, Mike Wakefield on the sack for the Redskins. The timeout called by the Jets with 14 seconds to go.
He's another one coming around the corner hard. We saw Garvin do it. Now we see Wakefield make the play.
6'3", 268-pound rookie out of Florida International.
Left lower part of your screen just comes right around the corner. Bryce has nowhere to step into. That's just a speed rush. Take advantage of the fact that the tackle can't get his hands on you. Lower your body and make the turn.
Redskins with a 22-18 lead with 14 seconds to go. We got a 2nd and 14. Not the only downer of the night for the Burgundy and Gold is Matt Jones with a left shoulder AC joint sprain.
Coach Akey, the defensive line coach, got to be happy with what he's seen tonight.
Petty, left side, looking for Jalen Marshall, and that will not be complete. Knocked down by Jeremy Harris. So 8 seconds to go. The 3rd and 14 from the 33.
The secondary's played well. I mean, you really look at this game and you say, maybe too many penalties. Okay,
better than last week.
Yes, better. We're improving, but still in critical situations, too many penalties. But a lot of great individual efforts. Guys knocking the ball away, forcing fumbles, making efforts to get down the field, one-handed catches. A lot of really good stuff happened in this game. It's a fun film to sit and watch. If you're a starter who sat, you get to watch some other guys do some really special stuff.
Petty moving left. This will be the game's last play, it looks like. The sack by Anthony Nalier, the second. No time on the clock. Referees haven't ruled it dead yet. While Coleman walking, and we've got ourselves the end of the game. So the Redskins with their first victory of the preseason. 22-18, the final over the New York Jets. We'll wrap things up on the other side. Joe Theismann, Chick Hernandez.